Astronauts to the moon.
Ignition sequence start. 3, 2, 1.
Houston, we have a problem.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff. We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue.
What you're seeing here is a mirage.
What's going on, everyone? It's Jaron from Jeranism, back with another live video for you. It is Sunday, which means it's not normally a time for a video on my channel. Usually, this is your Globebusterish time slot. Usually, you have the great sound and timbre of Bob Nodell welcoming you to Globebusterish. But as you know, if you watched Globebusterish last week, Globebusterish is going to be on a little hiatus. But for some of us, members of Globebusterish or fans, we just couldn't even take one damn Sunday off. So we're here. We're having a Globebusterish Sunday discussion live. You've got myself. We've got other panel members joining us. We've got Austin from Wits It, Gets It. Austin, what's up?
Hey, how's it going?
Happy you're here. Happy you're joining us. We also have the Dr. Rodrigo Ferrari Nunez. Doctor, what's up?
Hey, how's it going, Jaron? How's it going, Austin? Good.
Excellent.
Thank you for having me, man. Yeah.
We also have Iru Landucci, who will be a little bit late, so hold your breath for that. And I think we've got the conspiracy asshole from Conspiracy Castle.
You
Alex
got me,
Stein.
Jaron.
I'm so excited.
Can you hear me? Is the audio good? I'm on my phone.
Oh, the audio.
Can y'all hear me?
Audio's pretty good. Just got done watching your entire episode 1 from your new Dark Matter .radio special channel, your interview with Dr. Lorraine Day, another interview, right? That's a separate one. So fantastic.
Jaron, that's the second one. But, dude, we got to make a big announcement. They're going to start playing Globebusterish on Dark Matter Digital Network. So I'm the lead-in. I'm like the Conan O'Brien back when Conan O'Brien was funny when I was like 11 years old of the Globebusterish.
Okay,
so,
let me
I feel cool.
Let me put a stop sign there real quick, just because that has not been announced yet.
Oh, shite!
Jesus.
Did we mess up?
You screwed,
it's on their website. It's on their website.
You screwed that up.
You got to talk to Dark Matter.
You screwed that up big time. No, I'm just kidding. There's a lot of things. Let me just say, there's a lot of things happening with the Dark Matter digital media, the Dark Matter .radio.
Sounds impossible when you think about it, really.
What?
Well, it sounds impossible when you think about it, because Dark Matter was kind of like Art Bell-ish.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's totally pro-space and so on and so forth. And now, RV and Alex. And,
which is exciting. So
I'd argue that we're more pro-space than those guys, because we actually know what it is. We know it's not all fake bullcrap a million light years away.
Right.
Yeah.
Jeremiah
That's
Brown
right.
in the chat says, I got toxoplasmosis. So congratulations, by the way, on the new Angus. It's very exciting.
Thank you, Jared. He'll love to hear that when I get back. I'm sure he'll realize. When I tell him the #1 flat earther out there right now likes him, that will help his cat self-esteem. Because you know what? I'm cat-based, I'm plant-based, and truth-based. So I don't want you guys to forget that.
Yes. So no, the good thing about Dark Matter .radio is, #1, it's something I totally believe in, right? I believe in free speech platforms. We've all known that we have to get off of YouTube for a long time. This is something we've all been talking about. They let you get so big you get knocked down. They delete channels. Iru will tell you all about that. So the good thing about I like TFR, right? TFR is free speech platform. I'm able to have a radio show there. However, they don't have any video. So the good thing about what Dark Matter .radio is doing is, for instance, if you just spent the last hour watching Alex Stein like I did, you were able to go to darkmatter.radio and watch the video there. So it's becoming a station with a schedule. Yes, they have approached Globebusterish and asked if Globebusterish would be interested in doing the show there. Now, Globebusterish is currently on hiatus, so there's nothing happening right this second, and talks will begin. The other thing that's happening, which is pretty exciting, is I've been offered a position over there doing some interesting things, possibly even joining Nathan Stoltman Monday through Friday evening from 9 to midnight. So there's a lot. I'm not going to give up any information yet and say I will or won't be doing it, just because these things are just in the beginning infancies of the talk. I think that the station needs a lot of work, but I want to be a part of helping them get to where they need to be. So these are all exciting times. It is going to be exciting to see what comes up. But this is the kind of thing I think we need to start moving towards, if people think that we're going to be allowed on YouTube for very much longer, if people think that we're going to be able to keep being there, I mean, if you just listen to Alex Stein talk to Dr. Lorraine Day, they brought up Sandy Hook, Boston. I mean, all these things were just talked about like it's no big deal. You know why? Because it's allowed there. The problem is we are not allowed to say those things. So you're very cucked here on YouTube. You have to really watch what you say. So I think there's good things happening on the horizon. It's great to see Alex there. Great to see what's been happening with Nathan Stolman, RV, PK Truth. A lot of people starting to go there. I saw Higher Side Chats is going to be there. So, I mean, these are some awesome shows. I love Craig Carlson and Higher Side Chats. So it's going to become something big. I don't know when that's going to be. Is it a month away? It does need to work out some kinks, but if I can help them, I'm going to help them. And that might even mean that I need to slow down on some of the other stuff I'm doing. So maybe my Thursday shows won't be happening as often, and maybe even the moving of Monday shows. So we don't know. There's a lot of things happening right now. It's exciting news for people in the conspiracy world because there may be a platform where free speech reigns and where you can find us all the time without fail. Videos up, not being deleted, archives up, available. That's kind of the goal. Yeah. So should be amazing news. Keep your hopes up and send good energy in that direction. We got a super chat already from Stuart Green. Says happy Sunday from the UK team. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. So anyway, welcome to the show. What are we going to talk about today? Who knows? That's the fun thing about, usually if you watch a Globebusterish show, the great thing is, and this is where Bob is such an asset, Bob spends the week kind of coming up with a topic, putting together a show. He has 75 tabs open. He goes through all his tabs and leads us through the show, and our job is to just be panel members and comment and have a good time. I did not have time to do that this week, so I only have like 8 tabs open, and we don't have very many to share. So it's a different kind of show. It kind of resembles the Friday show where we just have a few guys here kicking back, talking about the truth, and hopefully you guys come along with us and enjoy it. So thank you for joining us. Let's get started. First, we were all talking about a video that just came out, what just a few hours ago? I don't even know. Let me share my screen so you guys can see. I'm going to have to share sound, I think. Otherwise, you won't hear it. You guys see my screen?
No, it's
Give it a second.
Yeah.
All right.
Jaron, one topic we have to talk about later, we have to talk about those space watches. I couldn't even sleep last night thinking about those guys doing those spacewalks with those stupid watches on.
All right. They're in every spacewalk, too. You can watch them.
I just can't believe that.
All right, so let's get started on this stupid video. It just came out by the, let me actually put it on this one so we can miniaturize it. There we go. And many people are like, I've already seen this video. No, it's new. It's by Big Think. It's called 3 Scientists School Flat Earthers on the Evidence. Neil deGrasse Tyson, Bill Nye, Michelle Thaler. Oh, boy, this is some crap.
Is it old, you said, or is
no,
it? No, it just came out. Right.
June 28th, 2020. So that's today. I don't know how long ago. Might have been an hour ago. Might have been 20 minutes. I'm not really sure.
Big Think is just double think, right? It's a total joke. This channel, the whole thing is every single. But they have Michael Shermer as well. This other calls himself a skeptic, and
it's the guy who Skeptic Magazine.
Yeah, and he's not skeptic regarding dinosaurs and evolution and Big Bang, but anything else that he can claim. He's just a propagandist, right? He's a kind of a puppet, like all of these people. You get a NASA person, Bill Nye, and who else? Neil. Let's take a look.
Neil, and I think I don't know. People have seen. I've done videos on Michelle Thaler. She's a joke. She flat out admits we don't know what's going on in space. I think I might have some quotes I'll be able to bring up. Let's start this video and try not to throw up on yourselves.
Is the Earth flat or round? It's round. Okay, now let's see. How do we go about proving that?
Yeah, so how do we go about proving that? Let's say a Big Think. Here comes the beauty of using your mind.
That's a hard thing for me to even start talking about,
right?
Because there are so many proofs that the Earth is round.
It's not a hard thing for
she
her to
said
talk about.
always the same.
Yeah, always.
This is-
Hello,
this is-
everyone.
Iru, all right, I'm so excited that you're
Yeah,
here for this.
here. Sorry, I was late.
By the
Hello,
way,
everyone in the
real
chat,
quick,
in the panel.
before I forget, everybody go down to the description, go down to where Iru's name is, go to the second link. That is his new English channel. You better subscribe
Yes.
now before it gets taken away.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Subscribe today, hurry up.
Temporary promo.
So this girl's a joke. She's, there's so many proofs. She can't give any of them, right? And the reason she has a hard time talking about it is because her entire job would be meaningless. Everything that she's ever done, all the talk she's ever given would be worth shit. And so that's why it's hard for her to talk about it. When somebody, what, you're attacking my... this is a hard thing for me to talk about because, we don't know what 99.3% of the universe is, but we, that kind of shit. Let's keep going.
Jaron, one thing, like, isn't this a compilation of things they had said already about Flat Earth, these
I believe.
guys?
Yes. Yeah, that's what I said. They just came out with
They
that's-
were even that lazy. They didn't even
Exactly.
do a new one.
No.
Yeah,
Well,
because
this is the best they got. Bro,
This
so-
is the best they have. This is their scientists. Remember, I mean, the name of the video is 3 scientists school flat earthers on the evidence. So that's what I should expect here. Scientists coming out, debunking flat earth, destroying us with evidence. Neil deGrasse Tyson, Bill Nye, and Michelle Thaler. And anyway, to call Bill Nye a scientist is ridiculous. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, with that title, we should have to take down our channels after this is over.
Right, exactly. So let's see if we shall, or what's going on. Let's go back to Michelle here.
It's difficult to know where to start.
Right.
B.O.B., the rapper, I have a video letter to him, the transcript of which is in.
Now, by the way, is this evidence that now B.O.B. the rapper who came out and said the Earth is flat, and I attacked him, and great so far. Evidence is just pouring out of these guys' mouths so far. Let's go.
Letters from an astrophysicist. That rose to that level of attention because he started saying, I am using laws of math and physics to show Earth is flat. Those are fighting words. You're going to say using math and physics? That is an alarm to the geekiverse that we must rise up and counteract these forces from the dark side that are out there.
There are proofs all around you. It is not difficult to know that the Earth is round. So let's start from the simple to the slightly more complicated. One of the things
And I do have to pause this every once in a while just because we will get a copyright strike, which is coming, I'm sure. But
Really?
it's the way things go. Let's continue.
There are proofs all around us, so let me just filibuster.
Yeah, so here we go. So now, I mean, that so far she said there's so many, and they're all around us, so there should be a lot.
you can see yourself with a pair of binoculars is if you actually go out to a lake and there are boats on that lake, the farther away a boat is, the more the bottom.
Now here, the more the
The
bottom
horizon
is,
beyond.
you can see that this is a repeat, that this is a reflection. You can see that. The boat hasn't gone over any curve. This isn't the top of the boat and the bottom is below here. The bottom of the boat is like here, covered by this mirage and reflecting.
Bottom of the boat will disappear and you'll basically just see the mast of the boat. And as a boat goes farther and farther away, the last thing you will see is the very top of the mast of that boat. And that's because the boat is actually going over the horizon that's curved. And that means that as it goes farther and farther away, you see less and less of the bottom of it and more of the top of that. You can see that with binoculars, by an ocean, by a lake. It's really easy. That wouldn't happen if the Earth were flat. You would simply see the boat getting smaller and smaller and smaller as it went farther away.
Which is what it does.
But you'd be able to see the whole thing with the same proportions.
Not true at all. Any comments?
Yeah, that's just incredibly dumb. What happens whenever I see a boat disappear from the bottom up real close, and then I zoom in and bring it back? I thought you just claimed the causality. The reason that it disappears like that is because of the physical curve of the Earth, but it does it when it's not going over the curve of the Earth, even in your model, so that's stupid. Like,
Right.
they didn't think about this at all.
And of course, they cannot present any actual evidence, any actual observations. They're going to talk about Mount Canigou or people looking at these islands hundreds of kilometers away, distant islands like Bob talked about this in Hawaii that you can see. It's literally everywhere. And all they can come up with is one single kind of abstract thing, not even going out in the field, because we see what happens when they do. They fiddle with it and lie, like National Geographic, right? And they show things that, like that one in particular with the horizon beyond the horizon, right? So,
Iru, anything?
Yeah.
No, it's amazing that we still, trying to not trying because we are just talking over, but the guys who trying to debunk the flat Earth, they still repeating the same thing, and this type of proof is ridiculous. At that time, you don't know, you don't even trying to explain someone that the Earth is round with this type of observation. It's ridiculous. I mean,
Yeah. And just, mentioning again, even though it means nothing when you do, this is for commentary, this is for critique. We are commenting on this video. We're not just playing it. It wasn't in the description. It's not part of the thumbnail. It's not clickbait. But again, they will probably copyright this just because, heaven forbid, you try and comment on what these guys are saying. Let's continue.
Jaron, I have a question. Do we agree? Do we think Bill Nye and Neil deGrasse Tyson know that we're on a flat Earth, and they're lying? Is that what we think? I mean, that's what I think.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I just didn't know if we were a consensus of that, if these guys were just big enough idiots that they actually believe this bull crap.
Well, that's what I think. I can't speak for anyone else. I think that at the least they know that it isn't. They haven't proved the globe Earth. Yeah, they know that they're masquerading as if it's a definitive, objective thing, and they definitely know that isn't true.
Because they have to know a zoom can bring the bottom of the hull of a ship back. They have to know that. Dude.
I don't think that they know that. See, that's the thing. I think that they're so stupid that they are useful idiots. That this is more powerful than having somebody get up there and lie every single day. It's more powerful to have somebody get up there every day and believe it. So I'm in a different camp than Austin. I know a lot of people think that these guys know, but I think, this guy's not even a scientist. If they wanted to get somebody to lie about it, why wouldn't you get a very intelligent scientist and tell him to lie about it, not some actor? So it's like this guy, I know, and people might say, well, that's the opposite. They've got an actor to say these things. Well, no, they've got basically some idiot who thinks he's smarter than he is, who was given a TV show where he explained this to children. He believes it so much, he's incapable of seeing anything else. And if you ask him what's the curve calculation on a flat Earth, he has no idea. And if you ask Neil deGrasse, they have no idea.
Based on gravity?
Right, yeah. Remember that one? Yeah, he said the gravity drop? He has no idea. I don't think that they have any idea even what they're talking about. But again, once you're so far into this, and again, Neil deGrasse has put 8 years of study into this, and he's memorized books, and he got better grades than other people in his class.
If you believe he actually went to school, right, and he flunked. Supposedly he flunked, and he got expelled, and he's basically installed. He's one of the He's more of an actor as well.
Well, he was basically placed there by Carl Sagan, right? I mean, I've told the story before where Carl Sagan hand-picked him out of a group, even had him come over and stay over at his house, which is a little bit strange. Like before he went into college at the age of 18, he spent the night at Carl Sagan's house, and Carl Sagan kind of set the whole thing up.
That's the story he tells, right? His letter from Carl Sagan, like he's such a genius. Carl Sagan wants to see him.
And if he's an astrophysicist, you can ask him, how many papers have you published? I mean, I think the answer to that is like one, which is a requirement even to do what he does. I think you have to publish one paper, so he's published one paper. And again, I think there's a lot of issues with him, and that's why I'm a little bit stuck. I mean, I kind of do think that maybe he does know deep down inside, or he's just a tool, and I'm talking about Neil deGrasse now at this point, because I've talked about it before. On his website, he talks about being there at 9/11 and actually filming the planes with his video camera. But no one's ever seen these videotapes.
Shut up, Jaron. He did not say that he filmed the planes.
Oh, boy.
There's like no footage of that. Shut your mouth,
You want
Jaron.
me to show you? I'm going to show you right now.
I believe you, but what?
I'll show you right now.
Asshole liar.
Yeah, let me see if I can find the article, because I don't want to be...
He said that a field goal was missed because the Earth's tilted moving, right?
Darren, you're actually making a good point. Like I say it all the time, like the CIA puts anchors in, right, as agents, but they're not all CIA agents, right? Like these CNN people are just actually crazy, stupid psychopaths, and they just let them run around, really believe in the nonsense they say. That may be true for like Bill Nye. I find it hard to believe Neil deGrasse has no idea, like that there's validity in the stance of a flat Earth.
And I'm kind of stuck on there too.
It is true that he made that explanation about Autosthenes, right? That he works on a flat Earth as well, right? He did say that.
She came from Jesuits. I mean, the Grace Tyson is a very clever guy. He's Grace Tyson. But he's inside of all deception, the deception and stuff. I don't believe that the Grace Tyson doesn't know that the Earth could be flat. In my opinion,
he knows it is
flat.
How
can you say that the Coriolis effect affects a field goal and not an airplane? I mean, what is the logic in that?
Because he has to say that. They have to.
It's a reference. What is it? The reference. whatever, point of reference, whatever they call it.
Yeah, frame of reference. Yeah.
Frame of reference.
Yeah, that's fake. Fake of reference.
I'm still trying to find this. Sorry.
I have something to share.
Okay, you do that while I look for this. Go ahead. We'll come back to that video.
Okay, no, but it's like it's experience, because we are talking about education.
Oh, you're not sharing your screen.
And I'm not sharing.
Yes, you are.
No?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry. I thought you meant something else.
Okay, no, because this is just as an example. I know is in Spanish, but the last year, a girl. My mother is a dancer teacher. She classic ballet teacher. So she has a lot of students in her school, and from really young age to adult people. And a girl from like 17 years old, she started following me in my YouTube channel, and she went to Catholic school, and she wants to present in the in geography class. She wants to present a flat Earth case. Mm-hmm. So the girl, only 17 years old, she present this document. I know this is in Spanish, but she present heliocentrism versus geocentrism, an introduction to the topic or to the subject. This is the name of the student, the city, the date of the presentation, because it was the work along the whole year. It was like a thesis for finish the school. Mm-hmm. So she present this. He gave an abstract talking about the differences in terms of the cosmology that have been rise along the history of the humanity, talking about the all the ancient cultures that speak about the flat Earth versus the only one who speak of a heliocentric world. She made the summary with all the thing, introduction, theoretical framework, methodology. Chapter 1, brief history of the cosmologies, ancient civilizations, Hebrew cosmology, Greek cosmology, the model of Ptolemy, the Christianity in Europe, the revolution, Copernican revolution, Tycho Brahe, Jonas Kepler. So what I'm trying to say is, if anybody take the time to study the heliocentric model versus the geocentric model, it's no chance that you become a flat earther. That is my way of.
There's no
of
chance
thinking.
you don't become a flat earther, right?
Sorry, yeah, it's not chance you don't become a flat earther, because then, for example, the chapter 2 was the argument for defend the theory of the heliocentric theory and also the flat earth theory. So the girl presents a balanced information, not some kind of biased information like the mass media and the education system does in our days. So she presents, for example, the possibilities of a heliocentric model versus the geocentric model. What about NASA? What about the Foucault's pendulum? What about the Michelson interferometer, the gyroscope? But the thing is, nobody teach this type of thing in school. Of course.
The Foucault pendulum, don't we know that they push it every morning? I think that's a fact.
Yes, yeah. Every morning. Yes, a Jesuit rise in the dawn and go to push. Chapter 3, the Earth is spherical or flat. The discussion still on board or still continues. I don't know how to translate it accurate. The model of the flat Earth, images of satellites and spacecraft, space travel, photography of building that supposedly are behind the curvature of the Earth, explanation about the Eratosthenes calculations and method, all the objects that supposedly must be hiding behind the horizon line, experiments over the sea, the open oceans, Samuel Robotham, Hamlet and Wallace, and the Irish Ocean. Conclusions. Then, of course, you have all. It's a 40 pages work. That was only the summary. Then you have all the chapters explained very well, because I assist her with information, with picture, with videos, blah 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 blah. Then you go. The girl puts all the biographies that she used, all the books and links, you name it. And at the end, she puts just some pictures, reference, what she talks about in the only text part. But the thing is, of course, the note that she received was what we call here 10, the maximum qualification. Of course, the teachers said, I don't believe that the earth is flat, but the work as you presented is undisputable. I mean, it's a really well done, high quality documentation. But the girl gave this lecture in front of all the
class.
The whole class, yeah. Even the director, which is a Catholic priest, in front of her.
Attended.
Yeah, because you can imagine this girl was develop this topic like 6 months. So in the meantime, she brings things to the class, discuss, in the class. So of course, this girl ideas go to the director office. Mm-hmm. So that is why the guy wants to be in the final day of the presentation. And
so it is you said it's
17 years old. Yeah, a Catholic school. Yeah.
Interesting.
And
yeah,
she talks about
she
talks about the Jesuit order, the Freemasonry.
Wow. Yeah, you see that even if you go to a Catholic school or a Jesuit school, you might be able to do things like this, right?
But
they
it's
can't
not
just control everybody. No, I know it's not Jesuit, but even Catholic schools are everywhere. I went to a Catholic school for a while, but there was no priests teaching us or anything.
Yeah, she talks about the two models to explain the Eratosthenes, and nobody can argue against it because she presents both models, not just one. So she leaves clear that I understand the heliocentric model, but I cannot be in that model because it's more logical a flat Earth model. It's simply as that, because you in the heliocentric model, you cannot prove this. You can explain if you want using some magical things, but the fact is that I see this building and no of any one of these buildings can be seen at this distance and with that height, etc., etc. Then the Eratosthenes model, then the other ancient model, the interferometer. Imagine a 17 years old young girl studying at that age the interferometer. But the most important thing for me is that the girl understanding the importance to live into a flat Earth model. In terms of the geopolitical, economic world, all the stages, all the layers that, what about if you live in the flat Earth model, what that means in terms of civilization? She understands that. And that is amazing. So imagine what happened if a lot of schools teach this type of things to their students.
Did she explain how she got to do this one? It was a personal interest of hers, or did the other students also talk about this? Did they encourage to talk about the kind of thing, or?
No, that she was the only one, and of course she was, quote unquote, fighting with all the students in the class because at the beginning everyone wants to ridiculous her, and trying to get laugh.
She had.
She stand up.
Courage to stand up against everybody.
Against everyone. Against everyone. And when she present this, nobody can say anything. Mm-hmm. Of course, the majority of the boys, they don't even know how to clean it does. So you're trying to talk about the interferometer of Michelson Morley, and the majority of the student vomit on the table. So, no, amazing. And I want to share this as, because these 3 scientists trying to teach us. So, well, maybe this girl can teach.
Yeah,
these
what you show here is that.
Why can't we recreate the Michelson-Morley experiment today? I mean, I know how convoluted it was with mirrors and pendulums, but why can't we do that?
Because if they did, they'd get the same result.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I know it proves the Earth is not a spinning ball. I'm just saying.
LIGO experiments, the same as Michelson-Morley.
Well, Michelson-Morley was on a small little device, not. Well, again, it was as big as like a basement, but I mean, it's not like LIGO's
huge.
miles long.
The Air Force replicated Michelson-Morley in 1987 and got the same results.
Right.
Well, we know they say it's a flat, non-rotating plane, so we know the military and NASA. Like, what more does people need to know? People want to know the science. Like, literally, if you just look at the NASA literature, it says flat, non-rotating plane. It just sucks that we even have to get into the Michelson-Morley when you got it in text right in front of your face.
We got a super chat from Second Best Bob who says, "You guys are so funny. The Earth isn't flat. Where are all the other flat planets? Take my money for making me laugh." Well, thank you for that. We appreciate that. And we're not a planet. There's your problem right there. If you want to think of the Earth as a planet, the Earth is the basement. What?
Sorry. I think one of the things that what Ito just showed proves is that exactly like he was saying, but anyone who just starts looking into this on their own, being honest, and going after the information, do a thorough job where they actually look into the history and make the proper comparisons and balance one claim against another claim, they will find out that there's so many issues, right? They will alone do this. That's why one of the things I was thinking, like, nobody needs, this doesn't need anybody. It just needs someone who's curious enough to test the proposition, right? I mean, in terms of a movement, the flat earthers or anything rising now, right? It was always going to be there.
Yeah, let's just respond to this dude's super chat that's really stupid. So, yeah, you look up in the sky and you see some lights. You presuppose solidity and sphericity, so you don't even know that's what they are. And we're talking about terra firma, the Earth's surface, and you're looking up in the sky to light, and then telling me you know what it is, even though you can't prove it, and that you know that the Earth is the same as the lights in the sky above it.
But then you wonder why.
That proves the Earth's a ball.
Right, and you wonder why these guys came out and said that they can see what's in space, is because all they need to do is look up at the lights and say those are spherical and those are solid. And just by saying that, you're allowed to make that comment and think you're right.
Well, I think it's common sense. If they say the moon is 0% water and we're 70% water, why would we look the same as the moon in a picture? It doesn't make. We would not be the same shape.
It's ridiculous. I mean, I think the whole idea.
We don't know what the shape of the Earth would be like. They concocted all these pictures, like, so it's everyone's perception is all totally distorted. To begin with, that's why that's one of the main problems.
And let me just say again, because I don't want to be, I don't want to say it's incorrect. I have no idea if Neil deGrasse, Bill Nye, or Michelle Thaler are lying or if they're just useful idiots. But so I don't know. So I mean, they could be lying. I just think that they're such idiots that to me they are terrible if they're acting. I mean, if they're acting, shouldn't they be better at it? And let me, Ira, are you done showing that, or can I come back to that? I want to show something real quick.
Give me 2 hours more, please.
No, I'll come back to that. Let me finish
answer
my
to the
comment
super
there.
chat as well, Jaron. Like you also look into how the telescope itself being round distorts what you see and makes it rounder, and also how the telescope
and the
is kind
vignetting effect and the vignetting effect of the thought.
Yeah, and how it's kind of a fraud because the telescope doesn't really magnify. Everything is in the eyepiece, and actually, when you look at the world with the telescope, you don't see very far at all. So, and then how are you going to focus on these lights? And then the assumption that they're actually balls, they're spinning. This is where things start getting fuzzy.
Yeah, but Jupiter, nobody
moons.
see the other side of the Jupiter.
Right, we always see the side with the stupid little storm on it.
Yes.
The level earther says, I think these
400 years storm. It's not a stupid storm. It's the mass,
sorry.
the biggest storm in our solar system, man.
How dare I? I think,
Never stop. Never stop.
No, and it's just a gas planet. I love storms on gas planets. It's nice. The level earther says, I think these tools all know that Smirk says it all. Michelle's a condescending biznitch. NDT and Bill Lie all play dress up after they film their shows and blow each other. Grow men playing dress up. Thank you, level
Well,
earther. we don't know if that's true, but there may be video evidence. Cleary says you are too small to see the curve that ships disappear behind. And then thank you, Hendrik Alerts, as always. Great supporter of the show. But here's what I was talking about, and now I have even more doubts about Bill Nye, or I'm kind of confused at what happened here. So while Iru was sharing that, I was desperately looking for this article. I'm like, it was on Neil deGrasse's site. I can't find it anywhere. Finally, I found this old Reddit basically saying Neil deGrasse Tyson was an eyewitness to 9/11. He wrote a letter describing his horrifying experience. So this is from 6 years ago. So I click to go to the site, and it goes here. So the site's gone. So I'm like, why did they remove his thing? So I keep looking. I find this post from 911blogger.com. Neil deGrasse Tyson, eyewitness to 9/11, described his horrifying experience here. So then I found the text. I was like, yes, this is it. Why don't they have it on his site anymore? So this is the current page. When you go to his site, Hayden Planetarium, you can see up here, 2001, 9/12, the horror is completely gone. But if you go to Hayden Planetarium on the Wayback Machine, boom, look, I found the article. Now, there might be several reasons why this article is no longer up. I did lie when I said I did lie. I was incorrect when I said he filmed a plane. He says he filmed and there was no plane. That it sounded like an explosion. You guys
that's what more like really what happened.
You want to read this? Let's see here. So he says, my entire by the way, this was written on, and it's no longer on the internet. You have to go to the Wayback Machine. Written September 12th, 2001. Okay.
Hey, before you read it though, Jared, I want to say the fact that he says these stars, the difference between, you taught me at 32,000, and the difference between a trillion, he says these stars there's no way they can be that far away. He has to know that's BS.
Yeah, I would think he would have to know that. But again, the problem for me is anytime you put, I mean, think of what happens to people who have been indoctrinated with the globe belief for 12 years. And that's barely just touched on. It's just touched on in school. They don't really ever explore it much. They may have one day where your teacher stands up and pretends to be the sun and students go around her and this is how the planets work. It's not even that deeply indoctrinated. When you get to college, it's like 8 years of mind control. So anybody who goes through that is going to come out on the other end so brainwashed into space, so brainwashed into trillions of miles, then it doesn't surprise me that those people would believe what they're saying. Anyway.
You mean if you're doing astronomy, right? Not if you're doing other things.
Yeah, no. I'm talking, well, yeah, it's the same thing, but you can look at just think of how people are holding on so tightly to the globe when they've barely gone through 12 years of public education and it's not even touched on very much. It's just something that the globe is there. Now picture 8 years of somebody being forced daily and they're taking all these classes and it's 3 hours a day. I mean, that's
if you're in astronomy and physics, I mean, it's grueling.
Right.
You see it, students they kind of go on trances sometimes. They lose their minds. I've seen it like
that
many
has
times.
to be done on purpose.
So I have no idea why this article would be pulled, but he says, my entire family is safe. We evacuated our lower Manhattan residence at about noon yesterday. We live 4 blocks from the World Trade Center in view of both towers, City Hall, City Park. I happened to be working at home yesterday. My wife went to work 8:20. I left at the same time to vote in New York City's mayor primary. My 9-month-old son was at home with our nanny. My 5-year-old daughter was attending her second day of kindergarten. We are 3 blocks from the World Trade Center. When the first plane hit at 8:50, they evacuated the school without incident. I noticed World Trade Center 1 was on fire in a high floor upon returning from voting. Large crowds of onlookers were gathering around the base of City Hall as countless fire engines, police cars, ambulances screamed past. I went home, grabbed my camcorder, went out to the street, and this is what I've asked. I even asked on Twitter a few times. I was like, can we see that video? Of course, we'll never see it. I went home, grabbed my camcorder, went out to the street, and started filming. I consider myself to be emotionally strong. What I bore witness to, however, was especially unsettling, with indelible images of horror that will not soon leave my mind. I see the World Trade Center 1 on fire at a high floor, not just flames coming out of some windows, but 4 to 5 entire floors on fire with smoke penetrating floors still higher. Upsetting enough, but then, among the papers and melted steel fragments fluttering to the ground, I noticed that some debris was falling distinctly differently. These weren't parts of the building that were falling. These were people jumping from the windows. I'm calling bullshit. This is why I want to see that video. I believe nobody jumped. That's just me. Their bodies tumbling in rapid descent from the 18th floor. I noticed about 10 such falls, morbidly capturing 3 of them on tape. So shouldn't he show this tape to the world?
That's the fakest thing I've ever heard. That obviously he took it. That is the most biggest bunch of bull crap. What an asshole, dude. This guy is gonna burn in hell. He's literally using 9/11 to get clout by writing this personal article. I didn't even know this existed. Dude, Neil deGrasse Tyson is a Satan-worshipping devil saying that he freaking filmed people jumping from 9/11 on his camcorder.
Right.
Dude, this is the most unbelievable bull. And people want to get your astrophysicist shit from this fucking asshole? Excuse my language? Give me a break. Guys, y'all believe in the globe? You believe this guy said he filmed people jumping from the Twin Towers on 9/11, the most horrific event that's happened in a cultic ritual that they all made us watch. What an asshole, dude. And then he took it. Dude, this is the worst thing I've ever seen, Jaron. This is a discovery of all discoveries today on this Globebusters. I'm sad Bob can't be here. Dude, this is unbelievable, Jaron. This is powerful crap right here. This asshole said he filmed people jumping from 9/11.
Now, this might be why it was removed right here, this paragraph
with
right
the
here.
Sony camcorder.
Sony camcorder. It says, a fiery explosion burst forth from a corner of World Trade Center 2 about 2/3 of the way up, perhaps the 60th floor. The fireball created an intense radiative impulse of heat from which we all had to turn our heads. From my vantage point, I could not see the plane that caused it, which hit 180 degrees on the other side of the building. Nor did I know at the time that a plane caused it. I first thought it was a bomb, but the explosion was not accompanied by the telltale acoustic shockwave that rattles windows. How did you know this? How many bombs has he been a part
I believe he was there, but he didn't film any of this because there's multiple reports that say they never saw a plane. There's even a video of it's some NYC students right after the explosion going crazy. They didn't hear a jet, but go ahead. Sorry, I just want to get that out. It kind of sounds like he was on the scene. And what a coincidence it was during an election. That's definitely not a coincidence.
As it burst from the building's corner, the fireball was so large that it extended all the way to World Trade Center 1. The fact the building's corner exploded tells me that the ignited jet fuel got focused by the sides of the floor into which the second plane flew, meeting at the corner, which increased its explosive pressure. Oh, thank you, scientists. This is some bullshit. The flames were accompanied by countless thousands of sheets of paper that burst forth, fluttering to the ground, as though every file cabinet on multiple floors was emptied. So anyway, I'm going to put this link in the description. You guys can read it enough. He keeps going on and on.
But you know what? One thing I would say is that in Amsterdam, in Amsterdam, when I talked to allegedly Dave about this, he said that he saw the planes coming in from the other side.
No, he didn't. Dude,
he claims that he literally told me. I was like, okay. I didn't know what to do. He told it to me. He told me personally.
Who?
Allegedly Dave.
Oh, that he saw the plane?
That because he worked in Wall Street and he lived across from the buildings, and he said he saw the planes. So I mean, I don't know what to.
The planes have a maximum velocity rate, and if they're going 500 miles an hour that low to the ground, they would disintegrate before they'd even hit the plane. So that would be the building, because you can look at any maximum velocity rate. There's no way they could have gone that fast that low to the ground.
I know all the arguments against the plane and everything with the windows that disappear, the cookie cutter style cartoon physics, the way the whole thing work and the way it collapses, the Dr. Judy Wood's work and all that stuff. But I was caught by surprise because I thought most people that we know here would agree that they believe that there's no planes, right? There's so much evidence for it being concocted.
Being not planes doesn't mean that could be some other small
thing pretending to be a holograph.
Yeah, pretending to. No, I don't believe the holograph story. I personally, I of course, I remember because I didn't see the first plane crash because I was sleeping. Then my father wake me up, and I put the television. I saw on television, of course, but the second plane on television, I saw it.
but we've all
It was
seen
on television, of course.
on TV.
Everybody see it. Exactly. Yeah.
We've all seen the video
Computer.
from the helicopter, right, where
Yeah.
it shows the plane go through the building. The
Right.
nose of the
Exactly.
plane goes through the building. That's all I need to know. There weren't planes, and if you combine
Exactly.
that with all the other discrepancies that they blatantly lied about, I mean, it's not even a big deal. It's just another part. It's another detail. You know,
Yeah,
like
that one,
they
that
lied.
one with the nose going through, and of course the way before when it zooms in, right? They have no plane. Is looking from very far away, and you see no plane, and then immediately as it zooms in, then the animation kicks in, right? That's the one you're talking about. That one is
There's
so.
one video of the first plane, and it was supposedly shot by a fireman. And then all you need to know is Shanksville, guys. There's no plane in the ground in
Right.
Shanksville, and they just picked some random place where they had a field. They're laughing, calling it Shanksville, and then they make up the story that there's people brought down the plane. They had the drink cart, and they pushed the terrorists down, and they said, "Let's roll." Dude, it's all fake. Dude. Those planes were not. There weren't people.
Maybe
on those
they allegedly they saw a plane, but from other company, not the
There was
plane
probably
crash
some
in the
planes in the
window.
sky.
You just saw some other plane.
Dude,
Yeah,
they-
there were no planes in Pennsylvania. The Pentagon, there were no plane
Pentagon.
debris, and then we have a video of the nose of a plane going through the building, and it's a far-fetched idea to
No,
think
the
there just weren't
Pentagon-
planes there either.
The Pentagon definitely
on.
had a plane. The Pentagon
Yeah,
had a
that- I mean,
plane, and the
Pentagon-
wings
They
folded
had
in.
the most
Come on.
the most surveilled place
You
on
guys
Earth,
are
and they gave
crazy.
us one frame of an explosion.
Dude, you
Literally
guys are
2
crazy.
frames.
Just-
What a bunch
Dude,
of assholes.
Just because
And that,
there's
I mean, of course,
27.
the offices that got hit barely got damaged. You can see the papers and the computers still on in it, but of course they identify everybody's DNA.
And you know what office it was? The Office of Naval Affairs that was in charge of finding the $2.3 million,
Rumsfeld.
$2.3 trillion that they had misappropriated.
I don't know. You guys are crazy. I think just because there's 25 cameras that layer the front of that building doesn't mean you should expect more than one video of that plane crashing into. I just realized this is why it is been pulled down, because he says there's more and more and more and more and more. That's a good way of writing. Emergency vehicles descended on the World Trade Center. I hear a second explosion in World Trade Center 2. Whoop, an explosion. There shouldn't have been an explosion. Then a loud, low-frequency rumble that precipitates the
It's a
unthinkable.
generator, Jaron. It's just generators blowing up, dude.
A collapse of the floors above the point of explosion. First, the top surface containing the helipad tips sideways in full view. Then the upper floors fall straight down in a demolition-style implosion, taking all the lower floors with it. Even those below the point of explosion, a dense, thick dust cloud rises up in place, which rapidly pours through the worn streets and across lower Manhattan. Anyway, I will put this link in the description so people can read that if they want. But
It's
On the
crazy.
day
Why
of,
would you be
even
saying
Trump
that?
said there was bombs. The day of.
yeah.
If he was there, it sounds like he was there and saw it.
Red Flag Rico says, but the passport survived it all. Yes, we're very lucky for that. Thank
And the
goodness.
blood.
Yeah, the blood was there, and yeah, I just think it's I think it's wrong. for you
Larry
guys to say
Silverstein
didn't hit
his whole family that worked there every single day. They all
all
happened to
missed
be
it.
out to work that day.
that. Yeah, they all called in sick. I mean, can you believe it? And I just saw Neil deGrasse said that the producer of Cosmos, and isn't it true about what is the thing about McFarlane that he was supposed to be on a plane too? I just read that. Now I don't remember.
I thought it was Mark Wahlberg was supposed to be on a plane.
I think that I just saw a Neil deGrasse Tyson article where he said the head of or the creator of South Park and the creator of Cosmos were both to be on the same plane and both missed the flight. I just read
Yeah,
that somewhere.
I think I heard Owen make a really good point about Seth MacFarlane. He's the only person to get his show canceled and then brought back. So that kind of shows you that he probably sacrificed himself. He buck broke, and that's why they gave it back to him.
Crazy. Ira, you want to go back to sharing? Sorry, I just wanted to get that done and out of the way. Neil deGrasse, best friend to all.
No problem, man. No, in fact, I just have the. I remember that I have my video from the ISS filming the smoke of the Twin Towers, and the guy.
They always do that.
Yes, they use trauma to traumatize.
ISS always films
to
all
produce trauma
disasters.
into the people. Yeah, and the guy, playing the flute, with the typical
Yeah.
dead song that
Jethro
you have.
Tull
in the-
guy.
Yes.
Dude, Neil deGrasse Tyson probably wasn't even there, bro. He just wrote this stupid script.
I saw it from the satellite image from the ISS with the camera.
Oh, yeah, you're right. So there were planes. I'm tripping.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
The fact he
you
took
can
it
see
back-
how. Yeah.
The cover-up's always worse than the crime, guys. Always.
Right, just leave it up. Just leave it up on your site. If you wrote the article and you stand behind it and you were there and you did the camcorder, but that video should be somewhere. I mean, you should be able to type in Neil deGrasse's camcorder footage. I want to see his camcorder footage because I can't think of very many. How many people were on the street at 9/11 filming the buildings with a camcorder? Not many.
Yeah, and a famous little propagandist puppet just happened to be there.
Right.
You notice a reoccurring theme, dude, with these, like 90% of the truthers, they don't even fully get to the heart of a lot of these conspiracies. And we underestimate the grabblers for some reason. I don't know, but like with JFK, right? It's like, oh, it wasn't Oswald. The CIA killed him because he fired the same guy that was in charge of. No, maybe he wasn't killed. And so it's like the same thing with this, right? It's all the conspiracies about 9/11, but then you tell someone, well, there weren't even planes, they're like immediately going to dismiss it. They're like, wow, you're crazy. So really, when you get to the heart of it, it's such a crazy lie that it just turns off most people. They can't accept it. You know, it's like it's always deeper than even the first couple levels are, you know.
Yeah, but Austin, 9/11 is a fundamental truth that every single citizen should know about now, because when we went and destabilized the Middle East and we didn't do anything to the 18 Saudi Arabian hijackers, you know, like how much clearer does it need to be that it was all a scam by the Jews to go destabilize the Middle East? Like, I hate to say it like that, but dude, if you're an American and you can't see that, all you need to know is this about 9/11. Is the official stories. George Bush says that, and Condoleezza Rice said that they got intel that there were supposed to be terror attacks on the Twin Towers and they disregarded it. That's their official story. So all you really need to believe is that, you know what, they got those initial reports and they didn't just disregard it. They knew about it and they let it happen. Like, that's all the disbelief you have to suspend, but people won't even do that, dude.
Well, hey, dude, the dancing Israelis were seen celebrating whenever there was an explosion. They were brought
dude,
in.
The B thing, there's Israeli art students lived in the building up until the explosion. There was literally, and these same Israeli art students got in trouble for going to politicians' houses. They were surveilling them. They're Mossad agents. And when they got accosted by the cops, they said that they were selling art. And there's pictures of them doing a weird art project where they took out one of the window panes and they got a helicopter and they took pictures of people hanging out of the buildings. Have you guys seen that?
I've seen that. I've seen that.
Yep.
Inside
So those guys wired those buildings, in my opinion. I believe there was some other stuff that set it off, but dude, those guys were in the building for years, and the building was basically empty after the 1993 bombings. None of those corporations went back there. They couldn't get insurance, dude. They were all out of there. That thing had a debilitating, irreparable asbestos. Those buildings had to go. Like, but this is the problem with 9/11. You can't really get to the flat Earth before you got to get to 9/11 first. That's kind of like your entry level diet wokeness, and that's what bugs me. That's what I try to talk about 9/11 a lot to people, because, dude, the 9/11 Commission report was a joke. Everything about 9/11 is so obviously a joke, and people still don't believe it.
Well, dude, most people don't even know. Like, when I tell people this, they don't know it. This is declassified through FOIA. The dancing Israelis were seen there. A witness called in. They were brought in. They were caught with all kinds of large sums of money and plane tickets to different parts of the world. They had contradictory testimonies, refused to take polygraph tests. They weren't put on trial. They were sent back to Israel free of charge. And then we got intel of weapons of mass destruction from Israel. And then we went to the Middle East and we fought a war that benefited Israel geopolitically. So if you can't put those dots together, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I can't help you.
That is what is
But I
happening
don't think you
now.
can get to the flat Earth without going through 9/11, in my opinion.
No, that moon landing. There's lots of these big ones that you have to be aware that you can be lied to on a massive level, and that's step one. Because if you're one of these people that believes like, well, Clinton couldn't even get a blowjob without, two people only knew about that, and everybody, if you're one of those people, then you'll never understand that big things can happen and you can be lied to on a grand scale. Jay Armstrong asked, what did NDT Neil deGrasse Tyson do as a profession back when he wrote this article? I did the same thing, I'm sure. Sodomy. And that guy's been accused of doing nefarious things with women, of course. All these guys have. Keeps happening. Keeps coming out. I guess he...
Probably just a cover to protect...
He drinks wine with Bill Nye, and they take over... What was it? I think it was Ebru or maybe Rodrigo talked about it, how that he appointed Bill Nye. They had a bunch of wine together at night and looked into the stars, and he appointed him the astrological leader of his foundation or something.
No, I didn't say that, but I believe you. If it's,
yeah, well,
they're probably involved in all kinds of stuff. Who knows? I mean, we see them hanging out with the Jesuits. Neil deGrasse loves the Jesuits. He brings them up in his program and whatnot. and it claims to be an atheist at the same time. So they doing that kind of bamboozling tactics. They need him to stand as this kind of atheist voice of reason to basically mold people's minds. They give up to authority. Him, Michio Kaku, and then on the disclosure side, there's a bunch of other people. Some people think that military involvement in the disclosure kind of information, the Stephen Greer stuff that they bring out, all these military people, they think that makes it more legitimate than the other way around. So yeah, it's the whole thing is doublethink. It's meant to drive people against one another.
Majority of people don't even know there was a whole nother tower that fell that had NSA, CIA, and FBI information in it. It's just like stuff like that. It's the fact that people don't even know it, right? Like when it comes to flat Earth, we have textbook gammas like McLooney Tunes and stuff where they've heard the flat Earth argument articulated well, the empirical evidence, and then they just double down out of ignorance or whatever. That's one thing. But see, most people don't even know these things. If you go around and ask, did you know that another tower fell? No one even knows it. No one's ever heard of dancing Israelis.
My wife has a sister in high school, or she was a couple of years back, and she said, "Hey, we just spent the last week learning about 9/11." And my wife said, "Oh, well, what did they say about Building 7?" She goes, "What's Building 7?"
That's crazy, bro.
I was like, "What? You spent a week learning about it and you don't know about Building 7?" Okay, well,
imagine what they tell them. I'm curious to see what they actually tell them in school. What's the script for that one?
Dude, come on, bro. 19 box cutters, bro.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah, well, why it's so important is if you can't realize the government's willing to lie to you about 9/11, then you're probably not going to realize NASA is going to lie to you about space. That's why I think it's like such a building bridge.
Exactly.
The L. Ron Hubbard style bridge to clearness. That you got to get your Thetan labels. You have to be a flat Earth guy. You have to know 9/11's bull crap.
I don't know. I think that the moon landings, it's so fake. I mean, 9/11, you have to admit it's better made, even though you can catch the fakery and whatnot. The story is absolutely crazy, but the trauma is huge. And
they had a lot more control of the TV by 9/11. I mean, think about what they were able to put out and how they were able to insert video into live supposed news coverage. Much further along than they were for the moon landing. So yeah, it's better presented, but you can still find out all that you need to, especially with the internet. I mean, they didn't have the internet back in 69, 70, 71, 72, so all you had was a bunch of old guys sitting around at Bridge calling bullshit. That's about all you had.
I'm of the opinion that they know that we know it's all bullcrap, like how they got rid of the commission, and they kind of mock us with 9/11. The fact that it happened, that we can't do anything about it. It's like
everything that
they
changed,
know
right?
that they won with 9/11. That was their ultimate win, because these guys, like I said before, we're dealing with the third generation Illuminati type people. So we're dealing with the autistic versions of their great grandparents. So these guys aren't that smart. They're not as smart as your great grandparents. So that was their ace in the hole. 9/11 was their freaking, their prized possession, in my opinion.
George Bush just led in a cultic. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, you should just take down the YouTube video now.
It's gone, isn't it?
It's gonna be gone. There's no way.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I'm listening to this going, oh man, I gotta jump on. So hi everybody.
What's up, Derek?
Yo, Dave, let's talk about it.
Hello, Dave.
Dave, how long? Let's place bets. How long will this video stay up?
I'm surprised it's still up. It's unbelievable.
The great thing is it'll be up on D Live, so that's good news.
Yeah.
For 3 days, but still, hey, you can find it there. Yeah, it's not allowed.
Dave, come on, give me you're a 9/11 expert, dude. You saw the towers from your balcony or your back yard.
I saw them from the shoreline, but I was 25 miles away, super clear. But it didn't look like what they showed us on TV. Some of the pictures that we saw, it wasn't what they told us. It just didn't make any sense. It took me 4 years though before I really faced it and realized it was crazy. But Alex, you've got it. You're saying all the right things. You know it. So, the Neil deGrasse Tyson answer, I think he said he's not showing it out of courtesy to the families. You wouldn't want it if it was your child that jumped out that window.
Oh, how courteous of him.
Yeah, but Dave, the worst thing is the cover-up's worse than the crime. Him deleting that off his website, it's all fake. So we know this already, but it's just like, dude, that just shows you how big of a chicken shit he is, that he would even try to get clout for saying he filmed people jump off. Like, what an asshole, dude, that he would even, think about doing that.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then you said, I've been in New York City on September 11th, and I've gone to people in the street and asked them how many buildings fell on 9/11, and I'd say it's gotten better. Maybe 1 out of 10 people will say I heard something about Building 7, but they don't even know what it is. A couple people do. So that's in New York City. They don't know about Building 7, but 3 buildings didn't fall on 9/11. 7 buildings fell. And people ignore Building 6, which is the smoking gun, and then a whole bunch of other buildings.
And 5, right? Yeah.
Went away. Yeah.
But Dave, what do you think about the idea that
7
they know
buildings
they know that we know it's bullcrap?
I don't think they care. I've come to the realization recently that the people that are buying the bullcrap, great, they win, the they, quotation marks, and then the people that are freaking out over it and arguing amongst ourselves, they win again.
Yeah. Well, it's just the cover up for 9/11 was so pathetic. The 9/11 Commission report, they investigated, what was it? They investigated Bill Clinton's BJ more than the Twin Towers, and it's absolute disgrace. But what's your opinion on the connection with 9/11 flat Earth? I'd like your opinion on that.
Well, the connection to all of these things is they couldn't convince us that 9/11 was what it was, and the other the Connecticut and the Boston event, unless we were lost in space. That's my new line: is people are lost in space and they could be convinced of anything. So if the foundation of your world is 100% wrong, and and what you think about where you come from, who you are, what you are, why you're here is 180 degrees wrong, you can be manipulated and convinced of anything. And that's why, when people say, oh, there's so much more important things going on in the world, whether you believe COVID's real or not, it doesn't matter. It's not as important as knowing who you are, where you are, what you are. And, until, I used to wake people up. I had exposing the big 3. It was, Boston, Connecticut, and New York. And I figured those are the 3 most obvious events that you can wake people up to. But I found out you can wake people up to them with great effort, and then they just go back to work. Like, well, there's nothing I can do, and it's already gone, and life will get back. And the people that did it, they're going to be out of office, and nobody went to jail. Nobody got, they got promoted. Everyone that was involved on that utter failure of a day of the official story got promoted. And but people go back to work. But as we all know, when you see the flat Earth, when you wake up to the globe deception, you can't put it down. You can't.
David, what do you think about this Neil deGrasse Tyson article? Did you know about this before today?
About him saying he filmed the planes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew about that.
Dude, my mind is blown. I did not know. I'm literally, my brain is Swiss cheese. This is the craziest thing. I just can't believe that, dude.
Jaron, did you find I forget exactly what he said. Did he say he filmed the planes, or he was filming and he filmed the people jumping, or both?
Yeah, filmed the people jumping. He didn't say he filmed the planes. He said he didn't know it was a plane until after he thought it was a bomb.
Right. Okay. So he saw the people jumping, and the whole thing with the artist, who knows what happened there. But here's the thing, and people don't realize this. It doesn't matter. When someone is in a burning building, it is hard to get them to jump 10 floors into a fireman's pillow, one of those big blow up things. It's tough to get them to jump. They'll jump when they're on fire. Then they'll jump, right? But it is very difficult to get somebody to jump to their death unless they're on fire. And if you looked at all the people jumping, none of them were on fire. They had their clothes on. We had the hangman, the guy, with the crossed over leg,
changing directions.
It was all a cult, and
then they've got a statue of somebody hitting the concrete, as if anybody wants to see that. That's a disgrace to the family.
And people don't realize, when I was a kid, one of the first trips my dad ever took me was to New York City, and I went to the top of the World Trade Center before it was demolished. But I'm telling you, when you're standing up there looking over, the observation tower was probably 20 feet in from the edge of the building. It's unpleasant. You think it's cool, but it's almost kind of unsettling. You're so high in the air, and that's the same with Sears Tower. These people wouldn't jump.
Yeah, no, there's no way. People will not jump. You can't convince them to jump, even if they're hoping that they'll live by hitting whatever pillow they have down there. But these people that jumped, if they jumped, are knowingly jumping to their death. They're not on fire. No building has ever collapsed due to fire and these people weren't on fire. So why would they jump? They're just going to wait until later, until the everything calms down and they get rescued. Nobody would jump.
No.
Now, then you have the Dr. Judy Woods thing. Maybe they were being microwaved, and that would make them jump. That's a good story. That's very possible, but I don't think anybody jumped. I think she got that wrong. Other people say that she's a total shill. I think some really smart people get things wrong.
And this is the whole thing.
What do
they
you think
want.
about
They
the
want the
justification
arguing.
stuff?
They want the arguing between us about 9/11. That's their goal. That's why there's so much crap out there. Because the second somebody says something, somebody else doesn't agree, then it's an argument between truthers, and that's what they want, rather than just everybody admitting, "All right, we were fooled here."
We were fooled. Yeah, so we don't know what happened. I don't think the evidence shows that nobody jumped. I used to say people jumped because I believed it, and I had a friend who, my friend's daughter, who witnessed the people jumping, or what she thought were people jumping, and she was in therapy for years and years to get over it because it was so traumatizing to her. And so that cemented my belief that people jumped. I couldn't even imagine that they'd fake it.
What about the people that survive in the parking lot with everything falling on top of them? They just walk out. That Judy talks about, and the parking. Yeah. Some of the videos you can see metal turning to dust.
Yeah, so the firemen, I believe that luckily they were in a stairwell and things didn't fall in on top of them. But when you watch those big sections of concrete and steel falling to the ground, turning into dust on the way down, then you know that you don't know. Mm-hmm. Then you know that it wasn't a controlled demolition. You know that it wasn't a structural pancaking collapse. You know it was something that we don't know. That's it.
David, you know one of my favorite characters is Oreo Palmer, the fireman that made it up to, I think, the 70th floor. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yep.
What's your opinion on Oreo Palmer?
I think he, again, don't yell at me, Russian vids, but I think he was for real.
I do too.
Yeah, so, some RV, I don't know what his take is. He might think that every single person, every single fireman was in on it. I don't think so. I think a lot of firemen died that day, and I don't know if they were supposed to, if they were sacrificed, or if some stuff went wrong. My belief, and this is just my belief, that part of the ritual was, the two towers, the Joaquin and Boaz, which were the towers 1 and 2, and then the King Solomon building, the building 7, that was supposed to be the third building that was fake hit by a fake airplane, and something went wrong with the simulation, so they had to scramble, come up with the nonsense in Shanksville. You know that the official story in Shanksville is that the plane hit at such a steep angle and at such a fast speed that the ground liquefied, swallowed the entire plane so deep, and then re-solidified that they can't dig it out. You tell that to a sleeping person that thinks 9/11 was real, and they won't even believe that's the real story.
Yeah, that's
not
real.
The
Come
official
on.
story. And then, so if you look at the numerology, and we're all waking up to this numerology thing, 93 is a very important number to them. Flight 93 was supposed to hit the King Solomon's building, and Flight 175 and Flight 11 hit the two towers. Add those two towers up, 11 and 175, divide by 2, 93.
Mm-hmm. Well, we know it was an occultic ritual. It's just, stories like Oreo Palmer, in my opinion, I feel like there has to be some sort of collateral damage. And he was just one of the few firemen that actually got up that high. So, I don't think a bunch of the firemen died because the hospitals were basically empty. But at least 20 or 40 died on the scene. I mean, come on, just from the debris, in my opinion.
Yeah.
What about COVID-19 coming 19 years later, and then the building being 33 years to the date or to the time it was collapsed?
And didn't they break ground on September 11th at the building, or was that the Pentagon, or both of them? I forget. They literally broke ground ceremony.
David, your best video is about how they spent all that money reorganizing that park so those arches are perfectly lined up with the new tower.
That's I didn't make it. That's Betsy Lee McGee, and that is the most important video for anyone to see. It's just go to my channel DITRH and search for Rockefeller's Money 9/11. That's a 20-minute video that if you haven't seen, if you've only seen it 10 times, you need to watch it again.
Because
It's
wasn't
awesome.
also the architecture mirroring like the pyramids of Giza and stuff on top of the buildings from top, Orion's belt.
Brian Staveley, Solomon Brothers, Solomon, whatever. I don't remember what it was, but it was King Solomon. Either way, I'm Mandela. I admit it.
Well, yeah, if you look into this even deeper, it gets crazy, like the occultic beliefs. I don't know if anyone's ever heard this, but like in 1967, I think it was Rockefeller. He's on his little magazine, and there's a picture of his watch. Of course, it's at 9/11, and it's believed that Yeshua was born on 9/11 and then died on 33 AD, and then you add 33 years to that picture of the magazine that's right at 9/11. So there's definitely like a numerical importance here. And this is just a huge, like, occultic ritual. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
That magazine picture's sick.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's a coincidence. You know, believe whatever you want to believe about the story, but we're just talking about what they believe or what they did. And again, the 9/11 reoccurring with 33, I don't find that to be a coincidence. And then they've associated the number 9/11 to trauma, where like America made 9/11 to call the cops, even though that's when you had to dial the phone. It's not even close to each other. It makes no sense at all in an emergency. And so instead of 9/11, which is supposedly, again, when Yeshua was born, not December 25th, of course, and as opposed to anything like that, we just associate trauma with it. Like, call the cops for an emergency, something bad's happening. 9/11, you hear that, everyone thinks about people dying and planes hitting towers, you know? So it's pretty crazy. It's much deeper.
Long-term.
Than
You know who was born on December 25th? Nimrod's son.
Yes.
So the thing about 9/11, you know, I was researching it, and I believe planes hit for years because I couldn't imagine that level of deception, even though I was awake to, you know, the massive deception. So the whole no planes thing is tough, even for a truther. Now it's like, how did I ever think there was planes? Some people got it faster. But I was listening, Alex. I was listening to your amazing interview with Dr. Day. That is, I've already convinced Dave Rubini to let me share that and let other people share that, because that video has to go out. But when you at the end, you started getting into, you know, the Sandy and the Boston thing, and that is where, you know, if somebody is listening to that interview about, you know, the health and the COVID, and they're getting it, all of a sudden when that comes out, they're going to just short circuit. Not that you shouldn't have hit it, but they're going to just short circuit. Their brains are not going to be able to handle it. And it's emotionally
too
painful.
much.
But you know what? It's not too much, though. Here's why. Because that
it
information
had to be said.
Yeah, that information has to be said. And then the next time, it may be a year down the road, but when somebody has time, they're going to remember that and they're going to look it up. And because there's too many things that were fired off by Lorraine that she just was nailing each one. You know, exactly why there's
I don't have to say it here, but Newtown, Connecticut, if you do 15 minutes of research, all you got, I mean, give me a freaking break. All you got to look at is Robbie Parker edited photo, and there you go.
That was in 2012, right?
Right. Yeah, 2012.
Yeah, I was watching RV at the time, and I was in Spain, and I started watching a bunch of stuff about the actors, and I was like, oh my goodness, and I got pumped in the other direction. It's like, oh my God, this is freaking fraud, and I sent it to a good friend of mine. Dude, he freaked out.
Dude,
out.
Okay, now
look into Captain Hook. Just go look at the security death index. That's all you gotta do.
Now this video is definitely gone.
Yeah, people cannot handle
this
it.
video is
gone.
X-rated,
So
guys.
gone.
They're getting some heavy truth out there. This is some powerful stuff. We're talking about Neil deGrasse Tyson said he filmed people jumping from the Twin Towers. What a joke!
We got over 1,000 watching live, not to mention 250 on DLive. So thank you guys for joining
It's crazy that he called it an implosion, though. He called it an implosion.
Dave Rubini just asked if he can stream this live on Talk Network.
He can if he wants.
on his thing.
Sure, he can do whatever he wants.
I told him yes.
Yeah, let's go. The more the merrier. Let's get it out there. People need to know that the maximum velocity rate of an airplane cannot go 500 miles an hour at that low of an altitude.
All right. Should we continue with that video or keep on this line? What do you want to talk about?
Oh, go.
I like the days.
I hate that woman, so that's why I'm here. Go ahead.
All right, let's go back to that.
I was like, I gotta get on. They're talking about that. I love science, whatever her name is. And then you started teasing me with the 9/11 stuff, and I'm like, I gotta get in there.
Too much good stuff.
Get in there.
All right, I'm trying to
2 years later, we get back to
Yeah, 2 years later.
The first video. Okay.
Oh, listen, Mr. Hero.
It's all related.
4-hour sideline guy. Go ahead.
Okay. I accept it.
That's a lie. He's never done a 4-hour screen share. 3?
Yeah,
Never.
exactly.
3 maybe.
Never.
But
I'm training. I'm training for that.
4 is just outlandish.
Got to work your way up.
Let's see here. Steve Mack Productions. Thank you for the super chat. He says, thank you for continuing the show, guys. Even when Bob isn't here, these really help myself and others through the week. Big ups to Witsit King Debater. Absolutely. And we have D-Rest says, ethical adults realizes the hoax. Okay, let's see what Bill's got to say now.
Seashore. Go to a seashore and figure out why you can't, if you live on the East Coast, figure out why you can't see Spain from the East Coast of North America.
I mean, we've made fun of this comment
It's
so
not even
many
what we just
times.
see, right?
Video? Isn't
Wouldn't
this the
see
same
Spain.
video from last time?
Yeah,
It's
they
a
just-
compilation of the three
yeah.
goobers. Yeah.
It's a compilation to really nail it, to
Yeah.
school us.
Here you go, Dave.
So
3
stupid.
scientists school flat earthers on the evidence. And his evidence is, shouldn't you be able to see the Spain from the east coast of the United States, which is the dumbest statement possibly ever.
Dude, it gets even worse. Yeah. Later he says the word infinite or something. So
let's keep going.
America. Just go to the middle of the Mississippi River and look south. Why can't you see the Louisiana? Why can't you see New Orleans?
Why can't you see the Louisiana? Why can't you see? Because nothing in that. I mean, just think of if you are 50 miles away from New York, you can barely see any buildings because of their size. Double that. If you're 100 miles away from New York, they would be minuscule, the size of a pinprick. If you're 200 miles, 300 miles, 500 miles, 1,000 miles, of course you can't see New York. What building is 2 miles tall? There isn't such thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, Jake Dolan from high up, right, can see super far, like those bizarre.
Yeah, but he can't see buildings, right? Because the buildings are too small.
No, you see kind of the cluster of the city kind of thing. You don't see, like, I think it has one that shows like Miami and the coast of Florida and stuff.
But is he seeing over 1,500 miles? No. Is he seeing 2,000 miles? No. Why not? Well, because everything's too small. So when you're talking about looking across the Atlantic Ocean, which is 3,000 miles across or 2,500 miles, you would never see anything ever, period. Yeah. Anybody who's even called a scientist who played one on TV would know that.
Yeah, but one thing, Jared, which is cool, is that if you're on a plane, I mean, I was crossing from Portugal to Brazil, and in the middle of the Atlantic, I could see the coast of Africa to the left, and I could see the lights from coming in. So
how far away was that?
I don't know exactly. You have to take a look, but it was very clear, and it was. It's right there, and it was even on the map.
But it's
like,
not far.
Holy shit.
What I'm saying is you can't see the distances he's talking about anyway, ever.
Yeah. Well, he's going to say, why don't you see China from the United States?
Dude, if you stand at the end of a long hallway, you can't see all the way down it, bro. It's called limit of perspective. The fact this little grabbler sodomite is saying this with a straight face just proves the flat earth.
Right.
Guys, my favorite thought experiment is though Shaq says the dumbest thing, but it's so great. He says the earth is flat because from his house in Florida, he can see the moon, but he can't see California. So that proves the earth is flat. I love that.
Wow.
Thank you, Shaq.
Thank you, Shaq Diesel. It's so stupid, but at the end of the day, is it that stupid? You know what I mean? The people don't realize you can't see. I mean, it is stupid. It's really a futile thought experiment, but at the end of the day, it's almost kind of brilliant.
No, dude, but the app, David's app, like, lets you do this. You can see, literally, I see the moon when it's over Africa,
Right.
And that is a good point, actually. How can you see the moon that's actually over somewhere so far? You can see it, and you cannot see across from the horizon, of course, because probably the moon is closer and whatever. I mean, I don't know what's going on.
The way the app works is that is Rodrigo, sorry. The source of the moon and the source of the sun is there. Mm-hmm. I believe that's within or above the firmament, however you want to say it, and that we're seeing it inside our pad, our personal atmospheric dome. When the moon rises and the sun rises, I contend that it's less than 65 miles away. It's somewhere in there. Maybe it's 50 miles away. Maybe it's 100 miles away. But I think that's where we see it.
Right.
But you think it's being kind of in some sort of effect, kind of like that concave or that kind of round glass that people are looking at in the conference? It's also happening.
Yeah. Jaren did a video with a light simulator and a bunch of and I did one with some domes where you have these little domes which are personal atmospheric domes, and you hold the light over it, and each one has the sun in a different place depending on how far away it is from the sun. But the person inside that dome is seeing it, seeing it right next to them in a very small window in a small little dome.
And how would you know that? You would know that because nobody can ever calculate the distance because everybody's seeing it in a different place, and that's exactly what is true whether you believe globe or flat anyway.
And I realized this once when I was driving down the highway in traffic in the summer, and I looked. The sun was up, up high behind me a little bit, I think. And I looked at all of the cars, and everyone I could see a sun inside on the windshield, on the rear windshield of every car. Right. And I'm just looking, and I'm like, that's like the personal atmospheric dome, and everyone sees the sun in a different place. Right. Yeah, we can get into that another time, but let's continue with this video.
Shaq also talked about crossing the United States, driving and through the plains, and those areas are so plain. I crossed Canada once through the plains and driven through Nevada, through California, and sometimes they have dozens of miles just totally straight. You can fall asleep on the wheel.
Yeah, Shaq's IQ is flirting with like 80, bro. He's misinformation, dude. He's making us look dumb. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's people like that kind of bring awareness to it, and maybe people will do research. Of course, he's disinformation. He's like this NBA guy that plays a fool, but like I just think it's some of those secret tidbits. Like I said, it's going back to the cover up is the crime. He had to walk it back. When these guys have to walk it back, it just proves there's a handler saying, change your tone, dude, right now, because you said some bad.
You're not allowed to
talk
about that.
I'm more of a conspiracy theorist than that. I think these people were told to come out and say things. I think that Steph Curry questions the moon, conveniently pops back out with some moon Steph Curry shoes. I mean, come on, dude.
Curry's black boule all the way, and so is Shaq. So, I mean, regardless, they're still leaking the information. I mean, I guess you're right, but there's not a lot of black people in flat Earth, so we need more black flat Earthers.
Well, actually, I will say from personal experience, black people are more open to it because they already know that almost everything's a lie. They're they don't trust the government at all. They're much more open to conspiracies, and so whenever you hit them with some facts, they're like, oh, I don't know, it might be. That's my experience because they already don't trust the
agreeing that black flat earthers matter.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, they matter the most. They're more important than white flat earthers.
Oh, that's racist. That's racist.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I remember, I never forgot. After I started thinking about this stuff, I started realizing that I had these experiences, like driving in the United States and going from Phoenix north towards the Grand Canyon and getting to this plateau where you can see the other side of the Grand Canyon. Like, what? It's way too far, and it looks totally flat. And those drives, driving across is the kind of thing where you will see things so far away from so far, especially in the desert because it's so clear. The air is not so in at night, for instance. I mean, I don't know. It's worth, if you with the mindset we have now, a trip through those places like southern Utah, Colorado, and Nevada, I mean, you would definitely be unforgettable.
Well, San Francisco to New York is supposed to be a 770-mile drop. It's 770 miles below the curve, below the horizon. If you want to believe that, that's how far it is.
Kansas is flatter than a pancake.
The strata, the geological strata that come out of the Yellowstone caldera that cross along the whole of the United States, they have the same kind of fossils that have been minced in these events in the past that on places like the east and the southeast to all the way to California, the same plate, the same geological flat plate. So you find, meaning you go in a canyon in the west and you look at some strata, and the fossils are the same that you find all the way on the other side of the states from these eruptions.
Jaron, I'm sure you've been in an earthquake, and I have too. I was in a really small one. You don't realize just a small little earthquake messes everything up. So if the Earth was spinning 1,000 miles an hour, we would feel it. It's like just common sense.
We just had an earthquake 2 days ago, 5.4, which is kind of small, but enough to shake window. And you're absolutely right. I mean, you feel it the instant that you just feel it. Everything is off. The whole world is off. If we were spinning and flying through space, that kind of thing would be constant. I wouldn't just be sitting here right now and everything is fine. You go look at a lake or the ocean, it's just sitting there. Just everything's so calm.
It's all relative.
Oh, shut up.
It's all relative.
Dave, shut up right now. I just looked up my math because I wanted to make sure.
The earthquake will make you sick to your stomach. Like your stomach will kind of drop. The walls will look like they're bending.
No, it's not. Yeah, no, it will. And even a 5.4, it's just so stupid. Anybody who thinks that we're spinning around, flying through empty space in a vacuum with this atmosphere that's just attached, it never flies off. I mean, it's so stupid. It's like even their little comets in space, right, have like tails. Why do they have tails? Because all this stuff is falling off of it. So where's the tail of the Earth's atmosphere flying off? I mean,
what about the tail of the sun?
Yeah, and that's
and
flying
the
even
perpetual
faster.
motion, guys. If we know if it's an orbit, that means it has to speed up and slow down at least 4 times, and we never feel a change of speed. I mean,
Right.
what? I mean, it's such a joke.
Believe it or not, I found this guy who's a Vedic astronomer type of person. So he buys into the Western model, and he says exactly he went for exactly what you guys just talked about. I mean, you have the comet with the tail, and he's like, well, then every planet has to have a tail because the atmosphere is. They believe that the planets are making the atmosphere here, and that it's going out into space, and that it should have some spiral tail. So this guy has a whole book about this, and he has
And it should, because I mean,
models.
they say that the comet is just some icy body. Well, what's different between that and what they say these moons of Pluto are? You know, it's just ridiculous.
Right.
You'd be able to see this thing. All right, let's continue with more Bill Nye here, talking about why we can't see a distance. And like Austin said, man, go to a hallway and put a brick at the end of it and tell me why you can't see the brick, dumbass. It's not because the hallway is curved.
So what's the problem there? Well, then climb a tower or go to the top of a hill or a mountain.
Here's another one I can't get over. Why do they think that you wouldn't be able to see further on a flat land? I mean, a 6-foot-tall person in a long Home Depot can see further than a 2-foot-tall toddler. Why? Because
Karen,
they're
they
taller.
don't teach us that. They teach us, you can see farther around a ball if you stand up higher. So that's what they teach us. They don't bother to tell us that when you increase your height, when you increase your viewing angle, you're increasing the angular size of whatever you're looking at, and we have that angular resolution limit to our eyes.
Yeah,
so you
you're
stand
right.
up higher.
They've convinced
And
the
there it
world. They've convinced the world that the only reason you can see further if you get up higher is because you're seeing further around a curve. That's what they've done through indoctrination.
What I find annoying about this guy is that he's speaking as if he's just climbing mountains and doing all these things. He's actually doing all these observations, and as if you're actually been there, instead of showing you anything that he's actually done, which is, just in call yourself scientist doing this is pretty incredible. He gets away with it.
Yeah, because all he needs to do is why is it when I get up in a plane that I see a curve? Why? And that's all you have to say, and then you're Bill Nye the Science Guy, and people go, "Oh yeah, this guy knows."
Yeah, maybe for some people, look, if I stand here and I look out, and Joe Rogan stands and looks
Way
out, I
different.
can see way further
Easily.
than Joe Rogan.
At least 6 times further. All right, let's continue.
And you'll see a little farther, but you will not see to the other side of the earth, places we know to exist. For example, I've been to London. I can tell you, other people have. I've been to Vancouver, British Columbia.
I mean, this guy's.
Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah, you got to be kidding me. I've been to other places, and that only can happen if we live on a giant sphere in space, ladies and gentlemen. There cannot be other locations that you can travel to unless you live on a flying ball.
I think he says, and planes prove the Earth is flat. Planes prove the Earth is a ball. Planes prove the Earth is flat. The emergency landings prove the flight paths are a joke. I just hate when he says that. I think he's about to say planes prove the Earth is a ball.
It's here.
And you cannot see Vancouver, British Columbia from Boise, Idaho,
No
let
shit.
alone from New York City or Toronto
shit.
or what have you.
Then there's some other proofs that are a little more obscure, but they're actually really lovely. And one is to observe what happens during a lunar eclipse. Now, a lunar eclipse happens when
Lovely.
the Earth casts a shadow on the moon. The moon actually goes dark. In fact, if you've seen one, you can actually see the Earth's shadow go across the moon. And when the moon is entirely in the Earth's shadow, the moon looks kind of dark and even kind of red colored. It's really, really beautiful. What's happening in that case is that the sun is on one side of the Earth. The Earth is in the middle. And it's casting a shadow. The Earth is casting a shadow on the moon. And as the shadow moves across the moon, you'll notice that the shadow is curved. It's round. So something like the sun that's bigger than the Earth and is able to cast a shadow of the Earth on the moon can actually show you the shape of the Earth. Aha, you might say, but could the Earth be a disk? Could it be flat, but it's actually still shaped like a disk, not like a sphere? There was a Greek scientist called Aristarchus, and what he noticed was that you can get a lunar eclipse at many different angles where the sun is. Sometimes the shadow goes straight across the moon. Sometimes it just kind of glances the moon. Just a little bit is in shadow, just on the top or on the bottom. From every different vantage point, every different angle that the sun is casting a shadow, you always get a perfectly curved shadow.
Wrong.
The only shape.
So wrong. I mean, it's just ridiculous. If you ever take anything like a orange or something and try and cast a shadow on another ball, it becomes elongated. It's never just a perfect sphere.
Can somebody that has lighting equipment, please do this. Just film this because I just don't have the right equipment. You get a dark room, get a single source light, get 2 spheres, one the moon, one the Earth, and then transit the light beam and film what it looks like, because it doesn't look like what we see. If someone can film that and share it, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, the only problem with
dude,
that is
here's proof that the Earth's a ball. If we assume that it's a ball,
right, exactly.
and that it's causing the shadow, like, dude.
And if
what
we
a clown
assume the
world.
sun is so much bigger than the Earth, and this is the problem: if we ever tried to film that, Dave, people would always say that our sizes are incorrect.
Right, it's not too far away. It
Right.
has to be 400 times bigger or 6 times bigger or whatever.
Right.
There's no way. Whatever. Friggin', I hate ballers.
We got a super chat from Rendian77. He says, "I'm black, and I know many black flat earthers." Awesome. Black flat earth lives do matter. Dr. Bass Ackwards says, "Dave, talk about Stonehenge." I don't know where that came from, but all right, let's continue.
That can cast a shadow that's curved from any direction you put the light is a sphere. So people have known that the Earth is spherical for thousands of years.
Look at pictures from space, where you see the Earth.
They
as a
always
sphere.
reference some guy who's been
These
dead
pictures
forever.
Of course, it's like a hero worship. Like, oh, this guy was so smart. How could you not be as smart as him? He lived 2,000
And
years ago.
her argument is mixing the two models. She's talking about a disc, a coin in space.
Right, which nobody believes.
Nobody believes that. And they're still pushing that. Unbelievable.
Look at this real picture of the Earth. This is the ball Earth,
They're
clearly.
not fake. And I'll tell you, just if nothing else, here's why you can tell they're not
Okay, now here's the reason why we know these pictures are not fake.
faked. Just to create the paperwork that NASA has created for the
It's the same thing.
Just the paperwork to send anything out in space, to send people into orbit or to send them to the moon. That amount of paperwork would make faking it prohibitively expensive.
That is the dumbest thing
What
I've ever
is-
heard. There's
I
nothing
guess you never
dumber
heard
than
of
that.
money
He's
laundering.
a lazy
You
guy.
never heard of tax evasion. What?
Mr.
paperwork,
books,
The
the
paperwork.
paperwork. Yeah.
The paperwork is more expensive than the actual doing of paperwork and sending craft into space. So
Yeah,
the,
Jared, what did Neil
the
say?
paperwork for faking it. Imagine if you and I were going to fake, Dave, something happened in Hawaii, right? So that what he's saying is, for us just to do the paperwork would be more expensive than for us to do the paperwork and to actually go there. How is that possible?
Dude,
It's
a
like
clown,
Neil saying
dude.
what did Neil said? It'd be harder to fake it than to actually go to the moon.
Yeah, this is what they're saying.
And of
Do
course,
you
they're
think
never
that-
going to look
that-
into any images,
that-
of course. They're never going to analyze any of their own things and say, this is how this is real.
The more I
right?
hear
They're not
this,
going to catch those. Yeah.
The more I hear this, the more I'm taking Austin's side now. I do think that, you cannot be that dumb.
They have to know.
They have to know.
Do you think that any normie that's watching this this might actually wake them up? Like, this is ridiculous.
If someone's here to commentate like us, like people were in such a mind-numb zombie state, dude, it doesn't matter what you say. They told them to put masks on and not be able to breathe and scream, "I can't breathe," for something non-related.
Right.
Like, I think that you have to be here to be like, hey, really take in how stupid what this clown just said is, Like, the paperwork, the way we know this picture's real is because the paperwork would cost too much money. Like, we're talking about the picture, Bill. Like, what are you talking about?
Right, so
Like, you
he's
have to
saying
be there to break the spell, I think.
Paperwork of faking it would be more expensive than the paperwork plus going. I mean, it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Mr. Mondesir, thank you for the super chat. He says, "I'm black and Earth is flat." So we're proving
Yeah.
that that's
Heck
what
yeah.
happens. All right, let's continue.
One could afford to generate that much documentation.
What do you mean nobody can afford? If NASA gets $58 million a day, I think it's up to $60 million a day now, why would it be that you can't afford to generate that much paperwork?
And Darren, let's just go back to that last comment you read.
Okay.
The guy that said he's black and the Earth is flat.
Yes.
How do you know he's black? Have you checked into it?
Yeah, he's got a little picture next to his name, so he's black.
Oh, he's got
That's a black avatar.
He's got a black
Give me
avatar.
2 minutes. I'll change my logo to a black guy, and then I could be black too.
Again,
Chill out,
Damn.
chill out. You're
That is
the
black.
unicorn. Your ethnicity's already spoken for.
yeah,
But Dave,
we
think
hear
about
it in your
this. They
voice.
still debunk us by saying boats over the horizon, and we can zoom in and see that. They have to know a camera can zoom in and catch the boat, because that's like literally, if you go to the clip from the episode of Bill Nye the Science Guy, I'm sure you guys have all seen it. That's their proof that we're on a ball, is the boat disappearing over the horizon, and that's just so thoroughly been debunked. So I mean, how much more can you wake a person up when their main debunking is not even real?
Agree. Let's go back.
And
here.
half the time when they show like that, the clip of the Earth from space, he said that it's real. Half the time, if you look at the edge, it's not even an even curve. It changes.
Yeah. Well, it's because
It changes as it crosses the screen. So maybe it's a real shot and a fisheye lens, but it's not a. If you're looking at a spherical Earth, that curve has to remain constant if you're viewing it from space, and it never is.
Okay, here we go.
Faking it prohibitively expensive. No one could afford to generate that much documentation. Then the other thing, if you want to get into this, if you're really serious, if your friends are really serious, have them get on a boat or a ship and go out at sea, and you'll notice you can't see infinitely far. Furthermore, if you get into it enough.
He actually said the word infinitely, dude.
Because if the Earth was flat, you would be able just to look out and see your friend in China and his mother.
But he used a really accurate measure unit, far.
I'm like crying on those.
So of course, man, infinite far.
So the only reason
This is how they screw us.
the only reason I can't see the town 15 miles away from me is because of the curve of the Earth. I didn't know that. I thought it had to do with the fact that it's 15 miles away and there isn't a building taller than 5 stories there.
Yeah, and there's something called attenuation, an extinction limit of light going through the atmosphere. It's not
Right.
complicated.
Yeah. Miguel Beaumont says, I'm also black and the Earth is flat. Oh, this is the new thing. Sweet.
Oh yeah, dude. Dude, but Jared, I mean, when it comes to if they know, like, think about that. If you're a quote unquote scientist, you don't know what attenuation of light is.
Right.
Like, there's no way, dude. There's no way you don't know that light has an extinction limit.
You have to remember these guys believe that they measured the speed of light back in the 1800s by bouncing light off mirrors 6 miles apart. That's what these guys believe. And that they were able to measure with candlelight, basically. Measuring candlelight bouncing off mirrors from 6 miles distance. It's so ridiculous. These guys are out of their minds. Let's continue. Yeah, it's just so, I don't understand how they could even think that. I mean, go out in a boat and wonder why you can't see infinitely far. Because if the Earth was flat, all of a sudden, items don't get smaller as they go off in the distance. They basically just render themselves to you. All you would see if you looked out in the horizon would be a bunch of people over in China and Hong Kong and Singapore. I mean, that's what would happen if the Earth was flat.
That made the final cut, bro. Like, that's
Well, this is their main debunk thing. But what's sad is how they bring the ocean into it. If you go look at the ocean, it looks flat. I mean, like, I know they're trying to say that it's just bring out the horizon, but you couldn't see the world more what it is than when you're looking out in the ocean.
Oh, boy. Let's go.
Pick up a book about navigation or go online and learn about navigation. A very, very important thing you have to take into account when you try to navigate the ocean from a ship or a boat.
So before they knew it was a sphere, they just couldn't travel in the ocean. That's what they want people to believe. People are just out there. We can't even paddle out there because we don't know what shape it is.
Is how high you are off the sea surface. The higher you are off the sea surface, the farther you can see.
No shit.
The farther away the horizon is.
I actually said this to somebody, and I couldn't believe they'd never thought of it. That, with binoculars, you can see planets. You can see Saturn and Jupiter. You can see Mars with a telescope, the sun, the moon. Everything else you see in the solar system is a sphere.
Just debunking
So
herself.
we're the one thing that is different. And that actually made somebody who
looked through my P900. That's exactly what I saw.
This is a complete lie, by the way. She's making this story up. She's talking to someone about a flat Earth, and this was what convinced them. Like, this is literally just a story she made up.
Right. Oh, and then I took some binoculars out, and I could see, and they're like, "Oh, you're right. Oh man, now I was so wrong." Give me a break.
who was more interested in actually hearing information. That actually got them to think. They were like, "You're right."
Oh God.
Everything else is a picture of is a sphere.
And you guys
You're right. Everything else in the sky is a sphere. You're right. What was I thinking? Oh boy.
I thought it was flat. Oh my God, thank you. Those binoculars. Now I know it's a globe. Oh my God, thank you.
Let's continue.
And of course, if you can see it with the binoculars, it could not possibly be millions of light years away, right?
Don't talk about that.
So,
Don't mention that. This is a different story right now.
Watches newscasts. You all use mobile phones. You all see airplanes fly around. You all go to see Ed Sheeran in concert One day
No, we
in
don't.
London, another
What?
day-
I
No, we
don't.
don't. What does that have to do with the Earth shape?
Why would you bring him up, dude? That's a terrible example.
What if I told
That
you
is
I'd never
so
even heard of
weird,
that
dude.
person? I don't even know who that person
Messed
is.
up.
He loves him though. I can tell you that much. He's probably a big fan.
His name is Ed Sheeran.
Yeah.
He's a famous
So,
singer. He's
it's
won
a
Grammys,
No way
Ed Sheeran
Bill
or
Nye
whatever.
can walk in public.
He's plagiarized Marvin Gaye's song and got sued for it.
I don't know.
Yeah, he's just a famous pop singer.
Yeah, he lived at Jamie Foxx's house, so he's definitely Illuminati shill. So there's a reason why he's mentioning him. And then he's holding one hand up, one hand as above, so below, kind of weird picture.
Oh.
I don't know. It's kind of weird.
I see it.
day in Melbourne, Australia. This all depends on our fundamental understanding of the size of the Earth and its shape with extraordinary precision.
The fact that there's people in Australia and people in another country tell us that the Earth's a sphere? Is that what he's saying?
Yeah.
The fact that Ed
he's saying-
Sheeran's alive proves it's a sphere. You just heard him
Right.
say that from the horse's mouth.
I mean,
He's saying navigation is pendant on like our presupposition of like sphericity and the
Wow.
radius being exactly right, and that's just patently false, dude. We use celestial navigation to
Astrolabes.
travel the world forever, dude.
Yeah, astrolabe is totally flat and nothing to do with any of this. Yeah, a lot of people believe Columbus proved the Earth is a ball, right?
it's like his bow tie proves it.
Right.
If bow ties can be worn, then the Earth must be a sphere.
And if you want to get into it, the Earth isn't quite a sphere. It's a little bleh. Its spin is a little bleh, stretched.
Oh my
boy.
Is that the technical term, Bill?
Yeah. If you want to get into it, oh boy.
Oblate.
It's a little bleh.
Let's get into
And
it,
it's
Bill.
not okay to think that the Earth is flat.
Oh.
This is not a viable argument. I have friends who have been on the International Space Station. who
Oh,
orbited the
friends.
Earth.
This is my favorite one. I have friends who are astronauts. I have
That's
friends.
just like
Friends.
COVID. I have a friend that's sick. I have a friend that died.
Right.
Everybody has a friend.
I've got a friend whose dad worked on the, space capsule.
Once every
Apollo.
90 minutes.
on Apollo.
You know, I have had personal experience with people that have been up in space and can see with their own eyes that the Earth is round. And of course, we've taken all these amazing pictures from space. They're so beautiful, all those pictures of the Earth. So I don't really know what's going on right now with this Earth is flat thing.
In a debate, what is the
You know.
construct? It's typically two people, and there's an audience, and you debate some opposite sides of some issue, and then there's a winner of the debate. And then everyone walks away reflecting on the winner. So who wins a debate? It's often the person who's charismatic, who's maybe charming, that's related to charisma, of course, who has a good way with words, good
He's calling us all charming, by the way, if you're missing this.
Yeah.
He's
Thank
saying
you,
all
man.
flat earthers, Austin, myself, Iru, we're all charming and good looking.
vocabulary.
Good
And
vocabulary.
you can have someone who doesn't have any of that, who is speaking objective truths, who could lose a debate. So then what is the point?
Now he's talking about himself. He's basically saying why he can't debate flat earthers because he has the objective truth but is not good looking and could not carry out with good vocabulary, and he doesn't want to go up against somebody who can.
Point of the debate.
Dude, the
If
whole
one
point of
these
the debate is challenging the objective truth part, you clown.
points of view is objectively true. So I will not enter a debate where I have the objectively true side of an argument and the other person does not. That is something that
That idea
should
of
not be-
objectively true thing that's so general like this, that doesn't even exist.
That's
right?
what
This
you're
is
debating.
objectively a douche.
That's what you're debating.
Can
Yeah.
The
either-
point of the
Can
conversation.
either one of these guys now walk out in public with the number of flat earthers out there? If they go out in public, they're gonna get approached, like Justin did when
with
Scott
Kelly.
Kelly was on stage. I mean, these guys can't go out anymore.
If I saw this dude in person, dude, I'd start salivating. I couldn't get over there soon enough with my iPhone.
He would run so fast. You never seen this guy move so fast.
be debated. Does not belong in front of an audience getting debated. You want to debate something? Debate political policy of what to do in the face of climate change. Do you have carbon tax?
Climate change. You had to throw climate change in there.
Do you have
Yeah, of course.
Solar panels? Do you subsidize them? Debate that. Don't debate something that is or is not objectively true in this world.
This is all susceptible to analysis, but spend some time learning about navigation. Tell your friends to spend some time learning about navigation.
Look at him.
Navigation's changed the world, by the way. What are you wearing? You're wearing stuff that came from another part of the world on a ship.
What does this have
that
to do with
flat.
debunking the flat Earth? What is
Why,
going on?
why do you want to know what we're wearing, you sodomite?
Oh goodness.
Tell me what the shape of the Earth is, Bill Nye, please. We've been waiting.
He just gave you evidence. What are you? What are you watching?
Jaron, I've been waiting this whole time.
He just gave you all the evidence. You're wearing clothes. Clothes equals spherical Earth.
Wait, no, that's not the proof. Ed Sheeran's not the proof. I'm still waiting on the proof, Jaron. It's gonna happen. We still got 2 minutes left. They gotta say it. It's a cliffhanger. They gotta say it.
Can you go outside and see Jimmy Kong over in Japan? Because if you can't, the Earth is a sphere. Okay.
Are you wearing clothes?
Are you wearing clothes? Come on.
I just love how he did say the plane. What an asshole. These guys, the planes prove that the Earth is not a ball. Just from, and if you're listening to this, just look up emergency landings, because that was another. I think it was Eru Rodrigo asked me what really led me to the flat Earth. Just the fact that all these planes that are landing in Alaska, it doesn't even make sense of the flight path. So even though that guy Dave always makes fun of his channel name, Flat Earth Banjo guy, but those videos are great if you're looking into it. If you still don't believe that you're freaking the Earth is flat.
I think it's important to combat people who are claiming that they're using math, science, evidence, and physics behind their cause, when in fact they either aren't or they're using it badly. That needs to be called out.
That's what we're doing.
Otherwise, if you just have a belief system, I don't really care. We live in a country that protects free speech, which usually also means free thought. You want to think Earth is flat? Go right ahead. But if you start influencing other people who have power over other people, and you have no foundation in objective reality, it can be dangerous.
I thought Michelle said flat Earth belief is not okay. I'm getting confused.
If you influence people, or you yourself become someone who has influence over legislation, laws, rules by which we all abide.
And that's what all these scientists do have.
That's an unhealthy situation for civilization to be in.
No, you look pretty unhealthy.
Personal belief system.
Yeah.
Not have
It is unhealthy for the astrophysicists in their establishment in the space industry. That's what the problem is.
Reality starts becoming predominant in the thoughts and hearts and minds of civilization.
It's not okay to say that the Earth is flat. This is some sort of strange denial. I don't know where it comes from. And it's something where I keep getting this question. We really need to put this question to bed, because we've known the Earth is a sphere for a long time.
Get smarter faster with
What
new
a great
videos
video.
every week from the world's biggest.
So good.
What a joke. They didn't even tell it. It's just, if you're looking at that as a person that doesn't believe the Earth is flat, and that's their proof, give me a break, Jaron. That is the biggest embarrassment to the ballers there is I've ever seen.
How many views does it have, Jaron?
Well, it just came out.
Not many, dude.
Yeah, it just came out hours ago, so it'll be at 1 million in a couple days. Let me see how many it has now. It had 11,000 when we started watching it. Let's see how fast it's moving up.
But that's an old video that
Is
they
the Earth
edited all
flat or
together.
round?
Those are three different interviews they put together.
Yeah, so I
They're
mean, it
old.
went from 11,000 to 15,000 in just the time that we were watching it. So it'll be at a couple 100,000 in a day or two.
Well, yeah, the whole thing is just, if we assume that the Earth actually is a ball, here's why we think things happen. That's literally all they did. So I don't see how an independently, free person can just watch that and be like, oh, yeah, I got it. Confirmed. We live on a Jesuit space monkey ball.
Well, even Einstein said all the measurements would work on a stationary Earth or a moving Earth, and that's their god, Einstein, who's an idiot, is an autistic idiot that married his cousin. I'm just saying, that's who these own people say. I mean, literally, the person they worship says that all of the mathematical formations would work on the same thing if the Earth was not spinning, and they still don't want to hear it, Austin. I mean, what are they going to do, then?
Yeah, I don't know. People just watch that to confirm their bias. I'm jumping all up in the comments, though, so we're going to see how that goes.
Sweet, get in there. People are looking for something to do.
Yeah.
Join Austin. I was trying to find. I thought I had some quotes from Michelle Thaler, but I don't see them right now. But she said some incredibly dumb things before. Believe me. Let me see if I can find.
Yeah,
it
she's a mental midget, in my opinion. I mean, that's what she's talking about. That's how she proved the Earth is a ball, because she handed her friend at a party a pair of binoculars. I mean, and then Jaron, the fact that these stars are trillions of miles away, how could how could the light travel here if that was the case? It's like it's just so ludicrous, the stuff they say, the back talk. They prove that it's not a ball in what they say.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. Also, one of the comments is like, they had to make this video in 2020. Like, yeah, exactly. That's the whole point. Like, they have to make this video in 2020.
No, it's pathetic. Imagine how much time they had to actually come up with all the amount of evidence to prove the flat earthers are wrong. And they come up with this. and they don't present any actual. Yeah, they show those kind of ISS images. They're totally fake. Anybody who looks into that knows. So it's desperation, or they just have, they think that they're winning by so far that it doesn't really matter. They can just recycle these things. People just consume it, apparently. But hopefully not. I don't think so. I don't think people can be fooled for so long like that.
Well, I think it is desperation, right? Like, I don't think they're taunting us or anything. I think they have, like, lifetime logistics. They know that flat Earth is actually growing pretty significantly, even with all the censorship, and so they have to put this out to just kind of like simmer it down, because everyone has at least heard of it at this point, so they have to do something, and
Well, it's all for the children, Austin, because as an adult, it's hard to get into the flat earth as a young person because they're so socially engineered by the schooling. But that's what that is. That's when they're using Bill Nye and Neil deGrasse Tyson and this dumb bitch, it's all for the kids. They don't care about the adults, in my opinion. This is all brainwashing. That's why they make that crappy video. They know if you look into it, all you got to do is one search, boats over the horizon with a zoom, and they come right back. That was literally their main freaking argument in the chunk of that video. And so if you have a if your brain is able to critically think, boom, they're debunked. So it's just sad. This is them attacking children.
Here's this article I found at Michelle Thaler, talking to this person at Pipe Dream or whatever, but she says some great things. It says, Michelle Thaler, Assistant Director of Science Communication at NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center, set out to convince people at her TED Talk on Sunday that most of what we know about the composition of the universe is nothing, at least as far as senses can perceive it. So you get into this thing, and she says some great quotes in here that tell you exactly what's going on. Here they say, what are you going to talk about? She says, I'm an astrophysicist. I work for NASA. One of the biggest discoveries in the last couple decades is that the universe appears to not be made of what we're made of. We're made of atoms, protons, neutrons, electrons. It looks like all that is about 4% of the universe. Everything else is a state of matter, and we don't know what that is. So this person says, so we don't know what 96% of the universe is? She says, we don't know what 96% of the universe is, and that's a problem. Anytime you want to talk about how the universe began, how it's evolving over time, or how galaxies and stars form, what are you going to say if we don't know what 96% of it is up to you? Or if we don't know what 96% of it is up to? So the talk is going to be a little history of how we could be that stupid. How we could say that 96% of the universe is in a form that we don't even know what that is. Where do we go from here? And how do we find this? So this lady who thinks she knows everything and wants to tell everybody that it's ridiculous still admits she doesn't know what 96% of the universe is. So, I mean, these guys are just clueless, in my opinion.
It's like the same lie how they tell us we know more about the ocean than they know more about the space than the ocean. It's ridiculous.
It's so stupid. I mean, these guys want to tell you what's going on with galaxies and what's rotating and how far they are and how big they are and what planets are going around distant suns, but we don't know what 96% of it is out there.
Yeah, but that's a trick for making money as well, because they say, look, we study so much this field and there's so little we know. We need a lot more money. We need money here in this area so we can find out about this boundary over here and that one there. So it's kind of a way to at least pretend and have this impression that their discipline is so revolutionary, that's changing all the time, they're breaking ground, and they're really not going anywhere. It's like
where do you think the money's going? Where do you think the money's going, Rodrigo?
Well, they have lots of aerospace industries, and now they have this myth that they're commercializing space, right? They finally commercializing space, and that means it's all going to get democratic. Anybody can go. But of course, it's always been commercialized. It's always been contractors doing it. Nothing actually changed. They just have now bozos who have startups who can do some contracts. So I mean, it's transhuman. I think what it is really, in my opinion, like the long-term game, I think, is a transhumanist scheme that connected to the eugenicists and the Nazis and all these people. And it is one of their main mythologies. It's like a religion. Right? It's an altar, it's a religion. It's even something that is made fun of in Space Force, the series, the comedy series was just out. It is clearly a religion for Americans, the way it's set up. But and that just generates a lot of money for STEM. STEM is it's what's behind it. It's what's sucking all the people, siphoning them in. In Australia, now it's cheaper to study STEM type programs at university than humanities. Humanities have doubled the price because there's so much money into this STEM thing, and people are so happy to get some sort of career. And then space and all the inspiration, it's a great thing for them to have in order to, and it's obviously it's child abuse, but that's what they do essentially, like you're saying. It's their main targets are children. Still, even in this video we were watching, but yeah, it's an exploitative scheme, and it has these religious occult roots that a lot of people don't even want to go there. That's another one that scares people too.
And it's kind of weird. None of these astronauts are very wealthy. Like all the old Apollo astronauts, I feel like all had financial issues. So we know they're not getting paid. They're just like government workers. But do you think that they're all devil worshippers like Neil, Buzz, and the current astronauts that go to the ISS today, Rodrigo?
Me? No, I don't know. But many of them definitely come from sketchy families. You see with Neil Armstrong, he comes from one of the most racist places in the United States. Who knows what kind of things going on in these families and how they get recruited, and like you see Bill Gates, his mom had connections, and so these families, his father was in Planned Parenthood. This is linked to Genesis, the Nazis, and they have enough on their side. If you want to, exactly what they do in the rituals. If you want to look into Fritz Springmeier and witness testimonies on these other things. There's a lot of that going around, or of course Buzzed with his double, his two watches, and all the occultic signs. There's something going on in their religion, but you could be a total dupe that just goes in it, believing the mythology of space, and you end up working for it, and you end up in the MK Ultra type program where you pump the drugs, hypnotize, put in simulators, and who knows what they can do without having the person actually become a worshiper in these blood sacrifices and so on and so forth. I think a combination of that is possible.
You say simulator. I'd like to elaborate on that. How do you think they would simulate it? You think they'd have like a big warehouse with a rocket ship connected to some sort of rod? And what what would they get them? And would it move and shake? Like I wonder how they could fake them and simulate.
Edu has shown that many times. The different kinds of machines they have, and it's like if you go to Disneyland and Epcot Center and places like that, and even Six Flags and places like that, you see the kind of hangars and big things, illusions that they can create, the size of the machines they create to move people around. So it wouldn't be very difficult. And they do that. They actually say, the astronauts, when you look at what they say that the training session is indistinguishable from the actual launch. And this is something that's come out recently. If you look at Monica Koch and Koch, or whatever how you call it, and some of these other astronauts, and even these new ones, the
Christina Koch or whatever.
SpaceX, Christina, the SpaceX guys, they say that also that when they docked into the station, they felt nothing. They're in the simulator.
And that makes no sense.
What do you mean that they're in the
that they would? No, I'm saying that they would feel something as soon as they docked. I mean, what? And they say they can't tell a spacewalk between the training. What a joke! That cannot be possible.
It makes no sense at all, right? They passed this double think impression that people think is real, that water is the same as the vacuum of space, and that because of water simulates anti-gravity, because obviously you're in a medium that it's denser. And so you float. They want you to believe it. That's one of the first things that should wake a lot of people up. The whole submarines versus ISS kind of comparisons, and I mean that's the kind of thing that really doesn't make any sense. How can you be studying and doing all these testing for something that's not? It's the opposite. Where you they're static under a pool. And they claim they go in 17,500 miles an hour, falling around and following the Earth as it follows the sun. It goes around the sun, right? They're falling around. The ISS is falling around the Earth, but it's also keeping up with it. So it's just, the kind of
reference
frame, the distortion. Sorry?
Reference frames. That's what they'll yell at you every time you say that. They'll just say it's original, because that's what they need. It's like the whole conversation. I don't know if everybody remembers way back when Antonio Subarats was talking to Red's Rhetoric, and they were having an argument about whether the sun moves in space or not. And Red's Rhetoric can't answer that question because he has to say in reference to what? And he'd say, no, just answer the question. Does the sun move in space? And he says, in reference to what? Because even though the answer should be simple.
You could say something, whatever.
Right. And if you
Right.
say in reference to the Earth, the answer is no. The sun does not move in space. Right? No, because we go around the sun in that reference frame. So this is their whole.
But
argument.
we're shooting through the Milky Way galaxy, so I mean.
But
how
it doesn't
does that
matter. It
work?
doesn't matter if it's in reference frame to the Earth and the sun. The Earth goes around the sun, and the sun just sits there. Now, if you expand that reference frame and say, okay, now we're looking at the sun in the next reference frame, well, then yes, it does move. It's such mathematical garbage.
Right.
Everything that they
Compartmentalization. It's a mental compartmentalization.
mental compartment, yeah, because this is what you need on paper to make things work. In reality, it doesn't work. In reality, you can't say the sun just sits there in space, and then if you look at a different reference frame, oh, now it's moving. No, if anybody understands how space works and how something that's moving in space would work, if the question is, does the sun move in space, the answer has to be yes in their model. But they don't have to say
everything
yes. They
has
say
to
what
move at
in
the
reference.
same time, right? All the time.
But they can't
and
say
then
that.
the big problem that UAP pointed to many times is that as all the planets supposedly going around the sun, all these things, they would be pulling into one another, and things would having to be scrambled. I mean, it wouldn't work.
No.
And they can't even model that, actually, right?
Gobekli T sent a super chat and says, hey, Jay, any news with celebs you mentioned at FEIC? And the news is no. I mean, it's still they can't. I mean, these people can't come out and say anything, especially now. I mean, if you do come out and say anything,
celebs.
no, if you come out and say anything, you will be shut down. You'll be forced to go on Jimmy Kimmel. You'll be forced to retract, and you'll probably. I mean, nowadays you can't say anything. These guys are so.
Yo, did you hear that they got rid of Jimmy Kimmel, or it's not in the same theater, or it got canceled?
Well,
Yeah, and Ellen
They tried to
DeGeneres and
cancel him.
Oprah. Yeah,
they're trying to cancel culture, which I think is all bullshit. But I don't
So
know.
it's just fake for being with the plant. That's kind of plant people.
You mean because
Well,
he
yeah,
did?
if you
'Cause he
listen to
did
QAnon, they're all going down because they got caught with their pedophilia. yeah.
Well, when is that going to
Anthony
come out? I'm
Weiner's
still
laptop.
still waiting to feel. It's like what I think Alex was saying it yesterday. It's like why is Hillary still not in jail? It's ridiculous. Stop saying that unless you're going to put her in jail. I mean, Trump should have put her in jail day one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you saw what I sent you, dude. There's a thing trending on Twitter. All the QAnon people right now are taking an oath to the Constitution, saying they're part of the digital army. So it's just like all down Twitter. Yeah, if you type in like QAnon oath, it's just everyone's taking oaths. Even like the Oregon Senate nominee, Republican Senate nominee.
How do they
Oregon,
take
she
the
did
oath?
the
Or
They just
like
said,
go
yeah, take
public?
them.
I had to say this. This is my one problem with QAnons that I've talked to in real life. Most of them believe that we went to the moon. What is your experience with QAnons? That's why I don't really deal with a lot of them, because a lot of them think we actually went to the moon. A lot of the older ones, the newer ones.
No, almost all of them do, bro. Yeah, they blindly believe the governmental narrative while claiming to be anti-government. It's laughable.
Is this it here? What I'm looking at?
Yeah, they want Trump to save him, right? It's I follow some QAnons to see the kinds of things they're saying, and I'm interested in the whole idea of what is this? There is enslavement right now. We know this for years and years and years. I find it interesting that this has been thrown in there, but yeah, the people I follow, they really hoping, they totally buy Trump 100%. They barely talk about his Israeli connection. Anything like that. They don't even talk Jesuits or anything like that. They just want anything he would do. They have something to say that try to explain that it's all part of the plan, right? There's always that, and then they look a lot. There's a lot of Q information, so they look at all the drops and they compare the drops, and they have a calendar. And they have all the kinds of other things. The whole culture in itself.
Yeah, I mean, I still stick behind my Ostradamus.
Where's the oath? This isn't it, because this is the oath that they take before they become.
No,
senators.
yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. The oath is just the oath to the Constitution. It's like trending where everyone's taking the oath with the hashtags QAnon, where we go one, we go all, digital army, and it started catching, and even this girl did it. Yeah, I don't know, just kind of weird. And then actually, R.I.P. Donald Trump is trending on Twitter also, and then. Today, Trump's been tweeting out like 3 or 4 tweets that come from Twitter where in the bio it says QAnon, where we go one, we go all. So, I still think that this is part of the big psyop. I still think that. I still stick behind the Ostradamus prediction that part of this appears to come true. Trump's heralded as a hero and blah, 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 blah.
This is just some guy like General Flynn, some inside guy that's kind of doing a mental masturbation with all this stuff, in my opinion. Like they have,
Yeah, I
there's
agree.
multiple people, they have inside information, but at the end of the day, they're still not that connected.
Yeah,
You know,
'cause
there's
they-
still some sort of disconnect with Trump.
Because when is this going to happen? That's my question. When?
Well, I think it starts to pick up in the next few months before the election. Again,
think
to clarify for anyone that somehow doesn't know, I'm not saying QAnon's here to save the day. You don't trust the plan coming from a military operation to get rid of the same government that they're coming from. That's stupid. But I'm just saying, I think it's a little bit deeper than nothing's going to happen. Obamagate, Hillary testifies in September. All this stuff's going to appear to be the swamp really getting drained to justify, well, we got to keep Trump in there for 4 more years because it's just now getting taken care of. And so it's a psychological operation. They want Trump in there. He's already been selected
Campaign.
for the next 4 years. Yeah.
as well. But the thing is, like, they managed to pull a trick. I mean, not a trick because, I mean, what do you call it? Like, it's a mass trauma that was inflicted on a lot of people as soon as this Pizzagate started coming out back when it did. And then now when it resurfaces, it's even stronger, right? It's bigger. And what I see from the QAnons is that they are really angry with this. They want to execute, you know. So the QAnons I look at, you know, he celebrates, yeah, I mean, it's understandable that he celebrates, you know, the recent executions of pedophiles and things that be happening. They look into these things and they want revenge. They want to grab them. They want them dead. You know.
Well, that's why it's going to work because there's such an emotional undertone. So the psychological operation. I mean, it overrides logic. People are like, dude, if you're going after pedophiles, you got my undying allegiance, and that's all that matters. And I don't know. There's 2 options there. Did Pizzagate come out and then as a damage control they propagated the psyop, or was this all part of the plan? I lean that way. They leaked out some of the dirt on these dispensable low-level characters who had to do this kind of stuff just to become famous or wealthy or successful, and they have blackmail on them, and they don't care about them. The Grabblers don't care about Ellen DeGenerate. No one cares. So go to jail, you know. And
well,
then
Pizzagate's a distraction because James Alefantis at Comet Ping Pong, they're definitely involved in it, but that's just to not show us that there's a lot more child pedophilia going on in Washington. That was just a distraction, like how they had a gunman come in there and shoot in the ceiling.
Right.
If some guy was like got molested and was going there to wreak havoc, he probably would have shot somebody in the head. He wouldn't have shot some computer. So, yeah, I mean, that's a distraction, but it's also real in my opinion.
Look at this quote right here. I just found this in my list of quotes. I haven't seen this in a long time, but you know, it's by the Brock Adams, director of the UN Health Organization. But read this and then think COVID. To achieve world government, it is necessary to remove from the minds of men their individualism, think masks, loyalty to family, think you can't go see grandma, you're going to make your grandpa sick, traditions, national patriotism, and religious dogmas. I think that's like, wow. So with one little fake pandemic or fake epidemic, if you will, or whatever you want to call it, that's a really easy way to get world domination or world government. It's funny. Just found that quote in my list of quotes that I haven't seen in a long time. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, it's important to distinguish, right? Like, there's a conflation, like national patriotism. Like, I think America's the best country in the world. It's just relative to. It's like the fastest kid with no legs. You know, it's like doesn't mean America's good.
Right.
It's just like we're a little more free than other people. Or at least we still have the capability of ensuring some freedom, or at least illusion of that.
Right.
You know, like I'm patriotic to that idea or to the principles of freedom, but I don't have to advocate everything that our government does to be a patriot. You know?
No, right. I totally agree. And you can't be. I mean, it's hard to just be. Oh, I'm so proud to be an American when you know you were born here. You didn't have a choice. Get over it.
Yeah, and I think naturally, inherently, wherever you're born, you genuinely like it. I mean, you just can't socially engineer that out of somebody to not at least like where they're born. You know what I mean? That's just natural.
Or like what nationality you are, right? I mean, it's just, if I'm Italian, I can't just say, oh, I hate Italians. Well, no, if you're Italian, you'll naturally like that. So don't be. I'm so proud to be an Italian. Italian proud. Well, not really. It didn't have a choice.
Yeah, when I love guns. You know, I love that I can just go buy a gun.
Yeah,
and,
that's different.
You know, stuff like that.
Yeah, but we live in a society now where a red hat is racist. If you wear a red hat, you're liable to be killed on the street.
Not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
It's very racist. All right, let's see here. What else did I have? Anything else? I don't know. We talked about. Did Iru leave? Bye, Iru. Thanks for saying goodbye.
I think is he coming back?
I don't know. We already watched that. I'll put that.
Hey,
in the show
I have a
notes.
question, Jared. You might have the
Sure.
answer. At the neutral buoyancy lab, is that regular water, or do you think it's some sort of saline solution? Because, like, I wonder how they try to imitate space, because it can't just be chlorinated water, I don't think.
I think it is regular water, other than it must be. Well, at the neutral buoyancy lab, it's probably regular water. Whatever one they do their,
Spacewalks.
dog and pony show is probably extremely well filtered water.
Yeah.
Um,
It has
And it's funny,
but
the
it's
name,
so stupid.
the
I
name
mean,
is quite telling too. Neutral buoyancy.
it's so different,
To
and it's just
study
ridiculous. Because, like
space.
I said, if it was about getting people ready for space, then you would slowly remove these scuba divers. You wouldn't get to the. I mean, they always have 5 or 6 scuba divers with them. Well, when you got to space, guess what? There would be none. So, what good does that do for training you? It does nothing. No good at all.
I mean, they look like a joke when they're trying to put him in the pool. It takes 10 people to put him in the pool.
Right, and lower them on that contraption, and then they got to be carried around, and then they got to have somebody holding all their cords so that they don't get caught on the apparatuses. Well, what happens in space? Well, again, I think that those scuba divers are there with them, not in space, in the fake pool with the dog and pony show.
You've seen that, right? That has been shown. It shows up in a helmet. Shows up in that window with the fubbly, wobbly door. Like the door, right? It's supposed to be pressurized, but it's wobbly. Into the particles and all that stuff. But I thought at some point I was thinking that maybe they, to get rid of the bubble problem and the particle problem, that they would be trying different fluids or something. I don't know. Who knows?
And don't you
Changing
think
water? They would.
Imagine the biggest marvel of all time, the airlock at the ISS, and they never show us go through that.
They do kind of show it that they but it's like a static camera. They had that guy, the Parmitano, the Italian one, recently with the women spacewalk that they stage. They going heavily after women and girls.
Yeah,
It's part
they
of their
listen. They
plan
listen to
because they don't
everything we
want to be
say. So
criticized.
anything we say, they just change it a little, adjust it a little. If we say that there's no view of the door, then the next time they'll put a little static camera there and there'll be a view of the door. They don't ever admit that they're doing it for that reason, but it's never what you would expect. It's always like, oh yeah, great, that's really. But it's just something so that Globers can come back and say, see here. It's just like when we said there's no nonstop video of the ISS. Well, then they had to come up with one real quick. And here's a 45-minute video nonstop, even though it could easily be edited. And we've talked about the many ways that can be done anyway.
Yeah, what they give us is the worst crap, edited bull crap in the world. And that's the problem. It's like when you grow up as a kid and you look at the space book, it's all drawings and renderings, but they put it out there like it's real, like the blue marble. It's just, that's the biggest people's idea that the Earth is a ball is because of the blue marble picture, and it's totally debunked.
Absolutely, and I think they even forgot that. And I think that what you're saying is, in that transition, imagine that while that's going on, you're going from child to adulthood, you're being bombarded with science fiction of all kinds of X-Men and all kinds of transhumanist types of superheroes and all that kind of garbage. And that is really connected to space as well. And that becomes people love that so much they go to the theaters. And, that's why they buy it. It's very hard to undo. And some of us still might even enjoy watching. I think Bob watches Star Trek, and I saw the Space Force. I was curious about what they're going to say. There's a lot in it, but there's always stuff. They can't get away from pulling their Easter eggs, and it's just kind of the pattern is just so clear.
Well, the same year satellites were invented, they were written about, a year before, Jaron? How does that work? What's the history of satellites?
Oh, it all comes from Arthur C. Clarke. Yeah, absolutely.
In the year after he wrote it in his book, isn't that when they were originated, the Sputnik?
Yeah, I don't know if it was the year after. It might have been 5 years after, 10 years after. I don't remember the exact time, but he clearly predicted it and gave them the idea, as is always the case. I mean, it's the same thing with the moon landing. I don't think these grabblers can come up with anything creative on their own. So they take people who talked about it in the past, either people who wrote books. It's the same with Titanic, coming from the book The Titan. It's the same with Jules Verne. It's the same with satellites coming from Arthur C. Clarke.
Jules Verne is one of their big idols, right? He's one of their big myth makers. They celebrate him. And, Arthur C. Clarke and the Sputnik is one of the foundation myths for the whole story of space as well.
in the Gemini, right? Don't forget that, because Gemini, of course, code for twins, and that's them working with the Russians and using the same techniques to fake the first spacewalks.
Don't you think that these books, instead of being prophetic and them copying, they're actually part of the plan? They're pre-programming us to accept these ridiculous concepts. I don't think it's by chance and that they're copying them. I think it's all part of the pre-programming.
I agree.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Dave, talk about the
Set up
insurance
in the
scam of Titanic.
You tell me.
Oh yeah.
Well, do
Oh
you
yeah,
believe
come on,
so-
man. Every
Come on,
Federal
you know
Reserve-
Titanic was an insurance scam.
Yeah, well, yeah, they swapped the ships, and then every banker that was opposed to the Federal Reserve was on it. One of the main funders for Tesla is Warden Clive Tower, which was trying to make free energy accessible to the whole world, was also on it, was killed. J.P. Morgan was the one that funded the building. He was supposed to be on the trip, but last second changed his mind. So
Austin, I believe that for the longest period of time, and maybe I still do believe it, but I recently was exposed to a whole bunch of articles about the Titanic sinking and that ships quickly came to the rescue and no passengers were lost. So
Oh, sure. Wow, that's crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, so I don't know what the heck is going on.
Well,
What
that
about the
dude
novel
died though, right? That was funding Tesla. He actually owned a motel. That's where Tesla was staying.
Did
and
he?
that dude did. Well,
Well,
as far as I
supposedly a
know,
bunch
the
of people
dude died.
disappeared,
You know, he didn't keep funding him. He no longer had funding for the tower. Then J.P. Morgan was the other funder, and right after the Titanic, whatever happened,
Yeah, so if
he
they-
pulled his portion of the funding, and it never manifested.
If they died,
So
we don't know. We don't. Maybe they died a different way, but they weren't around in the world story anymore. Quite a few people.
Right.
What about the novel that was uncovered that from before the Titanic? They had exactly the same story.
Yeah, called
Yeah.
the Titan. There's a lot of other things too. I mean, the whole story with the Californian and then the other ship, and now I can't think of the name of it. I want to call it the Luciferian. That's not the name of it. The ship that came and picked up everybody. The story is completely wrong. It's impossible. And that guy's like a Mason who supposedly is the captain of that boat, and he came and picked up everybody. Because the story, if you look at it, there's like 800 people rescued, or I don't know what the total was. But if you look at the time frame, they basically had rope ladders, right? And they would have to rescue people out of these little boats. And they had like, I don't know what it was, 800 people rescued or whatever. And then if you look at the time frame, it was like in an hour and 45 minutes. Well, if you do the math on that, it's literally impossible that you could get people up and down a rope ladder that quickly and just
That
take
many
off.
people.
And then I've talked about it before, the Californian, which supposedly was like, there's this whole confusion because the distance it was away from the supposed Titanic is way too far for it to see it. But their story was that they saw it. They saw these, then they go, oh, but it's too far. It can't be the Titanic. Well, the reason could be because of the globe. So I was going to do a video a while back saying the globe sunk the Titanic, but I saw enough information that just told me the whole story was bullshit. That it's hard to take any part of it and say, oh, this part's true because the rest of it's bullshit.
What about those like James Cameron documentaries that they claim they went down and mapped it in 3D? And what about all that stuff? You seen that in the actual wreckage
Yeah,
of
and
the Titanic?
doesn't the ship always look way too small, and it's got the wrong writing on it, and I don't know, there's a whole bunch of problems with that too.
Yeah. Plus Jack would have tried to get on the raft, so conspiracy confirmed.
Absolutely, there's definitely enough room up there that fat bitch should have got down.
And you know they call the Mariana Trench Hades, so they literally call the bottom of the ocean floor hell, which I think they're 100% right.
Could be.
No, they call Google it the Mariana Trench. They it's 7 miles down. It's called the Hades level or Hades zone, and I mean that's a fact.
So I'm looking at this article here that you sent me, Austin, that if people in Washington now not wearing a mask, it's a crime, huh?
Yeah, that's what they say.
Wow. But then I did see this article, too, that there's a Washington state... Oops, now my internet is freezing. Come on. You can get there. Washington
the Illuminati.
State
They're shutting down your strength.
Sheriff. Come on. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, the sheriff told people don't be sheep, like I was talking about on Thursday's show. But he was telling people don't be sheep, don't wear the mask. I won't enforce the order. So I think it was directly in line with the article that we just looked at. So somebody came out and said, wear a mask or we're going to... I think there was a fine and jail up to 90 days. Can you imagine 90 days in jail for not wearing a mask? I heard a commercial on the radio yesterday where they told us if you're not... What do they say? If you aren't... You're either part of the problem or part of the solution. And that is in regards to wearing masks. So if you see people out in public who are not wearing masks, you'll know which they are, part of the problem or part of the solution. That's what they said on the actual news on the radio yesterday.
It's just like the Nazis. Right?
Yeah, don't expect. I mean, now if I go out without a mask, I need to expect people to look at me as the problem because that's what the news, the mainstream, is telling them. Here's the article. Oh, it came up. A Washington state sheriff urged residents to defy Governor Jay Inslee's statewide mandate requiring people to wear masks in public, declaring, "Don't be a sheep," according to the report. So yeah, that's definitely the case. But again, people, and this is why I think it's just a precursor to shots in the arm, because right now people who don't want to wear a mask are going to be socially shamed into it, and that's just a precursor for the eventual vaccines where the same thing will be true. I don't know how they're going to be able to tell people when they've got a vaccine or not, but right now, I mean, imagine if they came out with a vaccine today. You would either know if people were wearing a mask or not, whether or not they'd had a vaccine, basically, because everybody who wears a mask would be the ones who had the vaccine.
Well,
I think
COVID
Washington
stands for
goes-
Certificate of Vaccine Identification.
Right.
Yeah. I think that Washington goes red, bro.
Think so.
So
It's coming?
Yep. That's why I think this stuff is, man. I don't know. I'm just that crazy guy that makes crazy predictions, but that's what I think, dude. How else would you get them to go red? You just make them keep being complete psychopaths and totalitarian morons, and then people are like, "Damn, I have no choice but."
I think that may be the design, but I think more people move to the left. I think there's just so many idiots. I can't
Yeah,
even.
Biden talking about using executive power to impose the
Right.
mask, right?
Yeah, I think that's. I think they're
By
trying
design,
to
right?
throw it. Yeah. Like, dude, it's so stupid. Joe Biden's coming out talking about my kids would have grown up in a racial jungle. He can't even say a coherent statement without wondering where he's at. Like, he just eats acid for breakfast.
Right.
Dude, you couldn't throw the election more. You know?
And that's the sad thing. I think they're trying to see how entrapped people are, because the more he comes out and says things like that, I think those on the left, the more they support him. I don't picture anybody. I don't know anybody on the left that's ever said, "All right, this is getting to be a little bit much. Maybe I see."
Well, they keep
the freedom
saying
side of
that
it."
they're voting for the people that Biden's going to put in office. You know, that's what they keep saying, that they don't even care that idiot is their president. That the people he's going to appoint will be good. They literally say that.
Dude, at this point, Satan could come out the ground breathing fire, and the leftists would vote for him. I'm not even joking.
I think so.
Yeah, there are lost causes. Don't get me wrong, but they're aiming at that silent middle ground, and I still think Trump one of the biggest wins in modern history. So.
Well, the worst part about the mask is they're engineering us to be police officers for each other. You know, so when the New World Order, when they put the tanks in the street, when the martial law is going on, then they can just have an app where you tell on your neighbor for not following the guidelines. So that's what this mask is. It's all just about compliance. It has nothing to do with medical health. It's all about compliance. So they're just getting people engineered to be the new big brother. Instead of the government enforcing it, instead of cops doing it, it's going to be your neighbor. Like, oh my gosh, my neighbor got gasoline. It's an even day. He can't get gasoline, that asshole. I'm going to report him. And then boom, you're docked 12 social credits, and boom, you can't go on an airplane.
What do you think about
the
whole 6 feet too? Like, could that be to scan us? I mean, you got to have these.
Yes.
You got these. I want to call them helicopters. These drones buzzing by, and if you're too close to each other, it's going to make it very difficult for it to know who's who, who's supposed to be where, who's not allowed there. But if we're 6 feet apart, hey, drone can scan me and tell me you better get inside. You have 6 minutes to get inside before we dock your social credit score.
6 minutes and 33 seconds, dude. That is actually what it is. If you look it up, facial recognition systems, for them to be the most efficient, they need about 6 feet in between each subject. So it's probably not a coincidence.
Yeah, and all the people are saying defund the police. Well, whatever they put in is going to be 10 million times worse than a police officer. And I know we talked about that.
Yeah, what do they think? We're going to get more freedom? Right. That's their goal. Yeah, defund the police and we'll just let people get away with more. It'll never be the case.
Well, the problem is, too, guys, it's like with 9/11, the Patriot Act, all the stuff that they're putting in place now will probably never go away. Like, sadly, if this COVID stuff is going to be a reoccurring bullcrap if we don't put an end to it, once and for all.
That's why I'm really hoping that people, when, California's shutting things down again right now, I'm really hoping people just don't stand for it. I hope if you're a barber, you just keep cutting hair. Just keep.
Well, in London,
don't listen.
In London, Jaron, they're trying to do rolling lockdowns where you're a month locked down, then a month off, a month locked down, and a month off. That's what they want, dude. They want rolling lockdown.
Yeah, this is
I think the current
in Panama.
What?
In Panama, men can go out for 2 hours a day on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Women on Mondays and Wednesdays for 2 hours. and I think then they alternate a day on the weekend,
Wow.
and that's it.
This
Wow,
is like
what a
heaven.
pro-sodomite legislation.
Yeah, it's like heaven for controllers. Think of what they've gotten out of this. I mean, they are just rubbing their hands together like you've never seen before.
Wait, we can't hang out with females anymore? That's the New World Order? Because I am not down with that.
Here's a question to throw out the chat to you guys. Where in the United States would be a good place to live?
Tennessee.
Texas.
No, not Texas, is it?
I don't know. Texas is weird too. In the United States, the best place would probably be the Caribbean, Dave. That's where I guess. The Bahamas, because you can get away wherever Jeffrey Epstein's island was. Little Marco Island is, I imagine, the best place to live.
I'd heard Idaho, but I don't know.
Probably in the heart of very big metropolitan leftist cities would probably be the best place to go.
I'm moving to Chaz.
Austin Damos prediction.
Isn't Chaz done? Isn't Chaz and Chop over with? Somebody got shot, so that's the end of that.
I don't know. I didn't keep up with the Black Party, dude.
Now
I
where am I going to get my angel dust?
Nope, nothing up the nose this week. Sorry. Yeah, no. Somebody.
What
I think they said they're going to come in and shut it down because people got shot. And again, whether you believe it or not, they just let that place basically open and go to shit because people. Where are you going to throw your trash? What are you going to do? People couldn't figure it out. And they want it to look like that. They want it to look like any kind of. This is what happens when you don't have police control. This is what happens when you don't have us hoarding over you. You turn into a mess.
I think that, dude, I think the current administration comes out towards November and really starts to leak, information exposing that the numbers were inflated. This was blown out of proportion. It was politicized. That's the angle they're going to go. We know that it was social engineering for the New World Order. That's what it is. But they're going to act like it's a political thing, and they're going to make it more and more obvious that this was blown out of proportion. But there are still going to be cities and states that double down on it.
Have you seen in Australia that they'll pay you if you get a positive COVID test?
What?
Yeah. Yeah, they'll pay you $1,500 if you get positive. I mean, it's ridiculous. There's so many poor people in my town that they'll go get tested and it'll come up negative and they'll get tested again. They'll say, "Can you give it to me again?" They'll get tested 20 times until it comes back with a false negative,
It's
just
like
a false
prisoners.
positive.
They all be kissing each other, cutting each other, trying to give it to each other, and they couldn't even get each other sick. That shows you how it's a scam. These prisoners, they were trying to literally kiss each other to try to get it, and a lot of them couldn't get sick. Some of them couldn't.
Oh, boy.
Did you see that, Jaron?
Say it again. I was just looking this up to make sure people didn't think I was lying.
I'm saying people in jail, in prison, because if they had a positive corona diagnosis,
Right.
they could be released.
Right.
And so there was inmates were literally cutting each other, kissing each other, trying to get sick
So they
from one
could-
another.
so they could
And a
get
lot
out.
of the ones that had good immune systems couldn't get sick. A lot of the thin guys, they didn't have any pre-existing, it didn't work.
Yeah. No, I saw that, and I don't doubt it. Again, these guys, it's just the same. They're just killing all small business. They're making it, desirable to be positive for COVID. They're paying you to stay at home. All these people are making more money by doing nothing. Small businesses are gone. I mean, they're just going to be destroyed. They're not going to be able to come back because why? They might think they're going to get to come back, and then this will happen. They'll call it a second wave. But when it's just COVID, when it's just a coronavirus, which will be here forever, people all have coronaviruses in them, so they can just drum up a second wave whenever they want.
PBS did a piece the other day that said that the only way to get rid of it is to not give it a place to host. So isolate and wear face masks, and it'll die out. So basically, they're just pushing the narrative, and people are just eating it up. Like, stay home, wear a face mask, and that way it'll have no place to live.
Dude, this is so wild. Like, if you look at it from like a Grabler perspective, right? You're like, okay, we created this entire Ponzi scheme of fiat currency where there's constant hyperinflation, where we're printing money off with no tangibility of wealth, and we have these crazy, stupid slaves just like buying into the system, thus introducing their labor, making it valuable, blah, 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 blah. But eventually it's wearing out, right? It's getting so high. We're in the high 20s, pushing 30 trillion. People are starting to catch on. Where's the 7 trillion coming from that they printed because of the common cold? And what you would do is before that fully collapsed, you would print as much as you can, and you'd go buy every tangible asset, which is actual wealth. That's actual value. You'd go buy all of it, while it was still here before it imploded. And that's literally what they're doing. They're going and buying all the tangible assets with the fake money before it implodes. And no one looks at it like that because they saw someone sneeze. I mean, it's just wild, dude. No one sees like the big power plays.
The banks already own all the real estate, Austin. It's too late. The banks own 95% of the real estate.
That's exactly what happened in the fall of the Soviet Union. Everything collapsed, and you had the grabbers coming in and buying everything up. Right, they already had it prepared.
Yes, exactly. So, and then what happens? Everyone has to go to Walmart, and so I don't know. It's pretty eerie.
The rich get
Well,
richer. Wow.
In my opinion, it's no different than when the KKK was developed by Jewish guys to go and destroy all the black-owned businesses, all the black-owned small businesses, so they wouldn't have to compete with them, and they did it under the guise of white power. It's kind of like destabilizing the Middle East in 9/11, and now that's what they're doing because the only people who are getting rich from this are Jeff Bezos and Walmart. All the small people are dying, and they're killing us on purpose. It's clear.
Yeah, I'm showing the servicesaustralia.gov.au site where basically you just go here and prove you had COVID and get your payment. It's very easy. You can get. I think I saw 2 weeks of single and liquid assets total less than 2 weeks of maximum rate of your income support payment. They'll just basically pay you. Severe financial hardship, types of crisis payment. If you or someone you're caring for is entering quarantine or self-isolation due to COVID-19, you can get this payment. If you're experiencing a family or domestic violence incident, you can get this payment. A natural or other disaster not covered by a disaster relief payment, you can get this other extreme circumstances payment. So they're just handing out money to people.
What about the fruit, bro? Does the fruit get a payment? How are you going to pay the fruit that tested positive?
People are going to be all over that to scam it. Whenever there's these opportunities to get money, I mean, it's going to be flooded.
The amount of payments that went to dead people was classic. It was like multiple millions of dollars that the U.S. government sent to dead people for payouts. Somebody ran it through like the death index. You'd think that they would do that before they send it out, but they didn't. And it's like,
well, the reason that's scary is all those dead people are about to vote in November, Jaron.
Right, exactly. And here comes Biden. Oh man, I just
Dude.
I just think it's so funny. The news is hilarious to me how much they hate whatever it is that Trump. I mean, the only reason they have now canceled, hydroxychloroquine and all this stuff is because he mentioned it like twice, and you can't even do that. I mean, I wish we could go back in time and just have Trump tell everybody they should wear masks. I bet you the media would be saying, "Don't wear masks; they're useless."
Yeah, dude. Imagine playing Monopoly. And just underneath the table, you have a little printer, and you just push the button, and it keeps printing Monopoly money.
I wonder if you'd be able to win.
Buying the assets.
I wonder if you could win at Monopoly if you had a little printer, and nobody else at the table knew you were just going to keep printing it out. And every once in a while, when you do print it out, though, you throw some to those people, right? All right, you get 500, you get 500, you get 500. Sweet, all right. And then I just keep playing, and I maybe print myself 1,500 or 2,000.
Yeah, it's like, haha, joke's on you. I got $1 trillion now. I'm buying your mansion, your house.
Oops, you can't make rent on that one. You're going to have to mortgage that property. But, to help you out, we'll throw you 200, keep you above water for a couple weeks. I mean, that's what it is. It's making people depend on the government even more. I mean, it's a great – I mean, none of us saw this coming, and yet it's the best thing they could have done for themselves.
Dude, I thought universal basic income would never be possible, and we're literally going through that right now.
Right now.
Yeah.
My line in the sand, I would say when this thing happens, I know that we're in deep poo-poo. And that thing was when fashion shows start featuring face masks, and I saw it the other day.
Oh boy.
It's unbelievable. The runway shows with the matching, Gucci face mask, it's unbelievable. It's a lifestyle. And people are just gobbling it up.
And TV shows.
People want to feel a part of something, Dave. They want to have a cool mask. They got to feel a part of the disease.
Right. That's what it's all about. Me and David talked about that forever. People want to be a part of something. And again, I mean, if you're just driving in your car and you hear on the news, look around. You're either part of the problem or you're part of the solution. And people without masks are part of the problem. I mean, you say that to people, and people are going to immediately put a mask on.
Well, they go YouTube their favorite rapper, and their most recent music video, they're wearing masks, so it's cool,
And well, what do you do from that point? I mean, you have no choice.
Obviously, you start selling drugs, buying girls, and wearing masks, obviously.
Oh, boy. Oh, man. Oh, here it is right
There's
here.
definitely people at the Tavistock Institute that figure out how to socially engineer us to wear masks. That's a fact.
What you need to know. So on Monday, March 30th, and this time I didn't even know, the Australian government announced the AUD 130 billion JobKeeper payment to assist businesses impacted by COVID-19. So down here, if your business has been significantly impacted by COVID-19, the business will be able to access a wage subsidy from the Australian government to continue paying employees $1,500 fortnightly. Now, fortnightly means what? Weekly? I mean, bi-week, twice a week? I'm sorry. Every 2 weeks? Right? Is that right? So. For a maximum 6-month period commencing 30 March 2020. You think any of these people want to go back to work? They're getting $3,000 a month for 6 months to sit at home. They don't even have to be positive for COVID. Jeez. Ridiculous. No thanks. I don't want to be a part of your stuff. Yeah, I just based on the eligibility criteria, most Australian businesses will fall within these categories and be able to demonstrate significant financial. So I mean, they're basically just handing out money. And we're
if you would have thought this time last year that we'd be under basic communism because of the flu, you would have thought you couldn't have thought I would be any more wrong. How weird is it, the current reality of things?
Right. Yeah, it's wild, dude. Did y'all hear about an 8-year-old and her mom and grandfather all drowned in their home swimming pool at the same time? And that's all it says in the article. But if you look into it, it's like the program officer at the Bill Gates Foundation that oversaw like $17 billion in federal grants and budget spending. And she died. So did her daughter and grandfather, all at the same time, drowning in a pool.
Do you have a
link? Wasn't it only a 3.5 foot pool, supposedly, Austin?
I don't know about that. I just know there's no way they all three drowned. That makes no sense.
Yeah, the story is that the kid jumped in, and that the two other adults jumped in, and they drowned. And supposedly it was 7 feet, but if you look at pictures of the pool, it looks like an above ground pool. So they don't even know if they can be 7 feet.
Oof. Yeah, it's crazy, dude. It's crazy. And the article, of course, doesn't even mention her connection to the Bill Gates Foundation. You know, it just.
Yeah, in Brazil, they have a name for it. It's called archive burning.
Well, that's what they're doing now. Except we burn racist pancake syrup in America.
Oh boy. Dave, I'm showing your fashion show.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I was like, when this happens, we're screwed.
Wait, but why?
See, now it looks like in America we're in the Middle East. She looks like we're watching something in the Middle East.
Why is nobody wearing a mask that's there though? I don't see one mask in the crowd.
Is there one on the corner right there?
No.
You go to fashion shows to be seen, Jaron. You don't know that? You don't go to a lot of fashion shows, bro?
No, I hate to tell you, I've never been to one. I don't see any masks. Where the hell is this at? Now, are you sure this is recent? I mean, it'd be hilarious if this was a year ago.
No, it's just Google Fashion Week face mask.
Yeah, but wouldn't all these people have to wear masks, Dave? How would they have?
I don't know. Maybe it was a couple weeks ago before you had to wear a mask. Excuse me.
But they haven't allowed crowds like this anywhere.
Yeah, this has to be old, dude.
Hold on, this might be old, Dave, which is even more interesting because why were they introducing masks?
It can't be old.
What do you mean? It can't be recent?
Dude, it's old.
All these people are on top of each other.
With a mask on.
Dave, there's not one person with a mask, and they're all sitting on each other's laps. How is this not old? There's not one. I mean, if there's one mask in the crowd,
like South Korea or something.
But still, they would have masks. They would have, and they wouldn't be
May
allowing
14th.
People.
That was.
It's not May 14th. Think about what you're saying. How could there be anywhere in the country or anywhere in the world where there would be not one mask in the crowd, and these people are sitting on each other's laps? Where else have you seen anything like this?
It doesn't look like an American crowd, right?
I don't know. There is a positive, though. Now anyone can be a model because you just cover your face. You don't have to be pretty.
No, we're all pretty.
Yeah, or do you see Calvin Klein has a black transvestite in their newest billboard in Manhattan?
Progress.
Yeah, anybody can be a model, even some fat ass.
Inclusion. Come on.
Yeah, duh.
I don't know what this is, Dave. I'm
here. Switch to this video.
Switch to this video.
I just sent you another link.
Fashion face mask fashion show. PNJ Media. I'm just shocked there's not one person. I mean, I would think one person in the crowd would be wearing a mask. I don't see one. I thought this guy was at first, but he's not. I just don't understand. There's not one person over here. Not one person. I'll switch to your other video in a second. People sitting well within 6 feet of each other.
Maybe they tested
no social
everybody.
Distancing.
Maybe there's more mockery. More mockery.
If this is before, it's even more eerie.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Look at this mask.
This is 100% before, guys. There's no way there's all those people sitting in the crowd, not one of them is scared of the virus. That would be like the social engineering.
This is the best. This is the best country you want to go to, unless they didn't allow people masks in here or something. There would be one mask.
That's how they make money. You have to buy the mask there from them, and they're all $1,500 a piece. That's
designer masks. Yeah.
Let me see. The screen showed something here. Show me a date on the screen. Designer Vogue mask.
Uh-oh.
Designer Nina Griffey Vogue mask.
I'm gonna look it up.
Look up Vogue mask. It must be from before.
But that makes it even weirder.
Absolutely.
Because, like,
I totally agree with you. I'm just saying it would make it less weird if this was recent, but then I would have to see one mask in the crowd.
Actually, I agree with you, man.
Programming like like the satellites.
That's what I'm saying. Like Arthur C. Clarke, they put the Vogue mask out there before.
So it's from Vogue magazine or something. Is it related to that?
Vogue, VOG.
And this is your here. I'll put that up so you guys can look it up if you want, or I'll click on the other thing and writing this down myself. Vogue mask designer. Yeah, I think this is from before. Bet you. Because there would be one person in the crowd with a mask. The fact that there's not one person tells me it was before the COVID.
Oh yeah. I'm pulling up things from 2014.
And they're showing off
masks.
his masks.
Yes,
Okay.
Yes, I just typed that in word for word. Wow. Mask designer Nina Griffey. Yeah, showing videos from 2014 where these people are walking around with masks.
So we've been screwed a lot longer than I thought.
It's in Hong Kong.
Been screwed for years.
It's in Hong Kong, conveniently enough.
But I thought we were told that those people all wear masks as a regular thing too, but I don't see one mask. Interesting. Dave, let me click on your other thing. What did you send me this time?
It's just more ridiculous mask wearing fashion show.
Let me see here. Oops. What did I do? Oh, goodness gracious. What is
Did
that?
you wear that? How much to wear that mask? How much to wear that?
What is this? Coronavirus face mask fashion show 2020. Wow.
Yeah. I have to say I've witnessed it firsthand where girls getting ready to go out looking nice, all picking out their mask. Which mask are they going to wear tonight? I've seen
they don't even need filters to catfish us anymore. We just can't even tell what they look like.
Nope.
What is that?
Look at this one. That one you could get catfished really easy with that one.
I want that outfit.
Oh God. What is the two
That's
dogs?
this one I've seen, dude.
You know, it's really bizarre, man.
Goodness.
It just occurred to me that when I put on Spacecraft magazine before this freaking thing kicked in, I have a photo of a guy wearing a mask as well in a fashion show, and it's from
part of it.
Isn't this mesh?
Looks like she's choking on it.
What the hell? It's like worms or something.
Yeah, but you can see
or
through
stitches.
That's what I've seen before. Now they're going to start making these with plastic so you can see people's mouth through it. That's what I've seen.
What about selling ad space on them? Like
this one, Chanel?
Yeah, you could maybe companies will pay you to wear their logo, like putting like on a live stream from the moon.
Oh boy, look at this. What is going on over here? Oh man.
Dude, I just look at one of those. Like I walk into a customer's office, or whatever, and I've had people offer them to me, right? Like the state sends out certain ones that are supposed to be good, and just looking at the box of masks, I feel like nauseated.
Yeah,
like
I
how
hate
do
it.
people put that on? Like it blows my mind.
Missa and I were out yesterday, and man, everybody's wearing them, but so many people have it pulled below their nose.
Yeah, what's the point?
What's the point? And the reason they have it pulled between their noses is because they can't freaking breathe. That's why. And did you see, I think Jeff Berwick showed it yesterday, did you see the guy who did the test, the oxygen test?
Yep.
Yeah, he has the machine, and he's able to put the little detector, so he puts it right next to his mask. He normally gets like 20.5% oxygen. As soon as he puts a mask on and puts the detector in the same spot, the thing starts going crazy because he's not getting enough oxygen. He was only getting like 17.5% oxygen.
Someone else did it with the pulse oximeter, the one that clips onto your finger to test your blood oxygen, and put it on sitting in a chair. Bam, blood oxygen dropped.
We know the masks aren't healthy. I mean, as soon as you take off the mask and put it back on, it stinks. I mean, it's so unsanitary to wear a mask all day. Everybody has to inherently know that.
Not to be too black-pilled, but there's something that grabblers are conditioning us with when it comes to inability to breathe. There's something to do with our lungs and adequate oxygen intake that is on the horizon.
You might be talking about 5G right there.
Yeah, so there you go.
Here's my take on it. I think I spoke on this when I was on with James True yesterday. They're separating us from each other. We've known that. Divide and separate by countries, by religions, by color, by city, state, sports teams, everything. Just divide. Split us by gender, and then they split the genders, and they split us up even more. And they're just dividing. Now they've put these masks over our face to take away our humanity, to limit our intake of spirit. Air is spirit. Like, you can go without food. There's some people that can survive without food at all, food and water. But you can't survive without air, because air is the spirit that we inhale and exhale. And when you lose your spirit, you're gone. So they're limiting us with that also. And then our bodies have an electric field around us, and if you're super powerful, you'll have a very far electric field, but the average electric field goes out 6 feet. And this is how people communicate when they're close to each other, that these fields intertangle, and this has happened. So they've now separated us from that. So that's slowly killing us. They did an experiment. I forgot where I heard this, and I heard it a long time ago, but I heard it recently, that they removed babies that were just born from their mothers, and then they put them in a room, and they only fed them, and they give them no touch, no love, just fed them from a bottle. And then they had to stop the experiment after 2 months because the baby started dying, because they're not, we're meant to touch and have these interactive fields. So they're taking all this away. It's not just about restricting oxygen. It's more than that.
And you know that now they're funding, Bill Gates is funding a company that's claiming they're going to make artificial breast milk for infants. He's putting money on that, and that is like
and artificial meat too.
Fosters.
The brand Impossible. And
right.
Starbucks, and we can continue on and on.
Yeah. The with this thing, but one thing that's amazing about breastfeeding is that the mother is adapting the milk itself to the infant's needs. Like, the more they need, the kind of nutrition, and there's whatever that the mother is also eating. Like, eating well is very important, but the mother gives the baby everything the baby needs, because she is with exactly what David's saying. Like, in our case, we are raising our kid with basically he never slept alone. He's always been in contact with the mother, and he's really, really happy boy, and growing very fast, very well. So there's it's what you say. All the midwives know that that's really important as well. And at least here they recommend breastfeeding as long as possible.
Oh, I think I forgot. Did you see that there's some dust cloud coming to the United States?
Yeah. Actually, I was looking up at the moon yesterday, and it was hazy. Even though it was like a super clear night, no clouds, the sky was hazy.
Hang on. This happens all the time. It happens not all the time, but it happens quite frequent. When I go down to Puerto Rico, it happens every couple of years. I'm down there, I run into this thing. So it happens all the time. They're just pushing it in the news.
Well, because they want everybody to wear
masks. If they
masks.
didn't tell you about it, you wouldn't really notice it. You'd be like, oh, it's a little dusty today.
Oh, it's called Godzilla. Godzilla is what it's called.
Crap.
Godzilla dust cloud is coming. It's descending on the south, and everyone needs to wear a mask.
And the murder hornets too.
Yeah. Godzilla dust cloud.
But how you guys feel? I mean, here is quite. We don't have this craze about the mask that you're having there. Like here, it seems like things are coming back to normal. Actually, all the places are opening, and there's only masks in the public transport.
Yeah, but Rodrigo, what happens whenever they hit your news and say that there's 200,000 cases there? All they have to do is say a number to make it back serious. Literally, all they have to do is say a high number. No one's going to fact check it. They can just say tested positive, even though it's a speculative test based on indicative factors. We've been through it, right? PCR
But the
testing.
thing is,
no one's dying. Just say the number. People are going to run and get
Yeah.
the masks again.
And Rodrigo,
No,
they
I
say
know what you're saying, but look. There's one thing that I think is different. Though. The United States is huge. It's like 350 million people, 330 million people, whatever it is. In Brazil is also huge, and there's people with masks everywhere. But here it's a small country, and the communities know who's like. I'm telling you, like my neighbors just now, they had a huge party in their garden with all the other neighbors, people drinking, children running around. They had the swimming pool. They know each other in small communities. Like they know nobody's getting sick. So I think it's more difficult to get totally controlled by the media in a place that's smaller and people know each other. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Well, no, I agree with you. Like Tennessee's super base, bro. Like I moved to this small town here. Like it was open the whole time. It was in the heart of the Holocaust, and it was open the whole time. But like when they doubled down on it, that's what I was saying the other day. Like I think the psychological impact we're even underestimating. Like if you believe the lie, it gets exposed to the lie, and everyone's like, "Wow, this isn't adding up," and then you fall for the lie a second time. What that does to your mind, I mean, the psychological impact is huge. They could then just tell you anything. They could tell you that the
Dave, you
fairies spin the
you
earth.
could see it from space.
It's not over yet, right?
You can see the dust cloud from space. It's real.
And
Here it
every
comes.
second of every day, Rodrigo, the news is constantly talking about COVID here. Like, if you turn on the radio, every break for the radio is new COVID stats. They say numbers for COVID on every single network 1,000 times a day. It's disgusting how much they put in our face here. And I guess it's not like that in Brazil.
No, it is. In Brazil, it is. I live in the Netherlands.
In every place, it's the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and here it is also. Here you have it in the mainstream news, but they don't have so many of these mainstream networks, I guess. But I don't know. I think people are buying it, but this is just what I'm saying. Like even with when the height of it, when people are lining up in the pharmaceutical, like in the pharmacy here, people just lining up outside and having to wear masks, and people cleaning their hands. All that stuff has happened. But now, just going around, the days that were warm here, very warm, people are outside, no shirt on, and having drinks. Nobody was wearing a mask. I saw that you see a few people in supermarkets sometimes, but that's what I'm saying. I don't know how and why and whether or not it's like you say. It's totally possible that they might just hit it with something else is being planned.
Well, I got a question for you, Rodrigo. If you were a Grabbler, how ready for the New World Order would you say the Netherlands is, right? Like comparatively speaking, relative to other countries, like how ready to adopt the New World Order is the Netherlands? Like legislatively, like have they normalized restriction of speech, like dictation of speech, hate speech? Are they like coming towards guns?
No
like,
guns.
How ready are y'all?
Are you able to have a gun?
With the Black Lives Matter stuff that just happened, it has had an effect here. So I mean, it's
Well, I mean, do you
it's all
guys have
connected.
There's
guns?
a huge Muslim population too in the Netherlands. Isn't that true?
Yeah, and there's people who don't like that, and that's a tradition as well. And there's all kinds of tensions, racial tensions here.
But you guys can't have guns, right? Do you have guns?
I don't think people. I think in my village they do have rifles for hunting and things like this.
Oh, so
But
you're
they have
allowed-
strict gun laws, right? Like my point is, if they know you're already ready for the New World Order, they're hitting America full on. Like this is the one they got to take down. Like they
Right.
take down
I see what
America,
you're
the
saying.
world follows suit, right? So if
I
they
see what
don't,
you're
they're not. Yeah, they might not think y'all are really much of a threat. Is kind of what
So
I'm
you're
saying.
saying that the people in the United States, because they're armed, and because there's this whole patriot movement,
Yes.
Of great different levels of wakeness or whatever, that's the place to hit, because once you bring that down, right,
Yes.
the rest of the world's already sold essentially.
Yeah,
away, you know,
cakewalk.
because it's
Yep.
disarmed.
Exactly.
And they'll do whatever the U.S. does.
Right,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
the U.S.
they'll follow
also
suit.
occupies here with their military bases, right? It's everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah.
Right. Yeah. If America comes out and they make a world currency, I mean, the rest of the world will adopt it in 2 weeks. you
Hey,
know?
just a question, because I just saw this the other day and I didn't know this is true. But do the police carry guns where you're at, Rodrigo or Iru? Or no guns?
Yes. In Argentina, they use guns a lot.
The police, they carry guns.
Yes, carry guns.
But in the UK, they don't, I heard, huh?
In
No.
UK, they don't.
They
not
just-
as often.
They just carry
But
sticks.
I mean, they don't
or
have
something.
to. Yeah, what are you gonna run them with a knife?
Right. And where,
That's what they use there.
where you're at, Rodrigo, they have guns or no?
I think they do.
The
yeah.
police, they carry a gun.
Yeah, they carry guns. Yeah.
See, in
it's-
America, they pop the trunk and they have ARs.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's.
They got
it's
everything.
little
They got everything you
Italy,
can possibly
places
imagine.
like that, the farther east you go in Europe, the more guns you see and machine guns and people walking around. In Italy, definitely they patrol the streets and there's military on the streets. We remember with the Globe Light tour, there was a.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think they got in trouble with some undercover cops or something like this. But you see the kind of troops patrolling these touristy places, like in Milan, for instance, in front of the Duomo, and they may just not like someone and then approach them and ask for their documents,
Mhm.
and that's when you might get in trouble. That's done in. There's a lot of immigration there. That's illegal, right? People crossing from Africa and whatnot. But whereas like if you go to a small town, the locals are in favor of that. They're in favor of people coming in. They want to help. There's other, the government uses that, the illegality to really hurt people, and so it's complicated, right? The history, those areas, the Libya, Tunisia, and Egypt, and everything. All the Mediterranean has been connected traditionally for thousands of years, right? It's so much intermingling there. Naples, not even, Naples has its own language that's mixed from so many areas. But yeah, and these governments, remember, they're all invented sort of in the 19th century. All these nations come around and become, in Italy, for instance, they unify a bunch of completely disconnected people who still don't. Different villages have different languages. In within 20 miles of distance, in Italy, and in southern Germany as well. When the nationalism came, when the government imposed their own language, they created dictionaries and they standardized the language of the people, which had much more variation in the languages and so on. This kind of standardizing of language, some people have talked about this theme as well. It's a type of mind control, right? When you
Hilarious
Dude,
image right here.
Hilariously enough, dude, while we're talking about this, I was scrolling through Facebook. Someone just posted this. This is going to give you an idea of what I'm saying. New COVID cases reported. Italy, 190. France, 81. Spain, 330. USA, 33,399.
Yeah, they're going
So-
full force on the United States. I mean, they're scaring the shit out of people. It's you have to wear a mask. They're taking down the economy as best as they possibly can. And then I just put this picture up right here. White hood also found in Bubba Wallace's garage. So a lot of things going on.
Dude, they have me rolling, dude. That's awesome.
That is classic. Sorry.
What do you think? Do you think that the people who resist this, like you and other people, like people in the protests, and
Oh, it's
are
getting fewer
they
and fewer.
ever going to turn? I mean, is it not just a one-way road? There's no way you're going to buy into it, right? So what's going to happen there?
I think some people do. I think a lot of people more than you think are going to have to turn. I know people who would never wear the mask but have to because of their job. And
Right.
the fact that they're now pumping this out across the airwaves and telling people that you're either part of the problem or part of the solution, that's going to make more people wear the mask. Because a lot of people don't want to be. I mean, a lot of people, hey, they're flat earthers, but they're maybe not. They don't want to wear a flat Earth T-shirt. Why? Because they don't want to go out and have people at the store look at them. Now, again, a lot of us are okay with that. We don't care. We wear flat Earth stuff all the time. We wear a flat Earth hat. But there's a lot of people who won't do it for that reason. So now the masks are being made like that. Whereas they're going to go to the store now. And I'm just talking again. I always come from a California perspective. I don't know what's going on in Tennessee. Maybe nobody's wearing masks there. Dave and I can speak from very cucked states where right now it's getting to be high 90%. It's just the way it is.
Wow, dude, that's crazy. It's like it's literally the opposite here. Like 10% of people wear masks.
Wow.
And in the last couple of days, everyone they're got like 100% people are wearing masks. But in the last couple of days, the news has really been pushing stories of,
Right.
chopper gets thrown out of Trader Joe's, or Walmart and everything. And some of them are fake stories. Some of them are real stories where someone just goes in and is an asshole and they deserve to be thrown out. Paige and I, we went yesterday to a place, and they're like, "Oh, you have to wear a mask," and we're like, "No, we're not wearing a mask." We explained the whole thing, and they're like freaking out a little bit. And I showed them. I said, "Look, here's from the Connecticut website. I had to print it out in my pocket." I said, where it says that if you're unable to wear a mask, you're not required to, and that they can't make you, and they can't even ask you, the whole thing. And they looked at it. They're like, "Can I have that?" I was like, "Don't worry, you're not going to be fine." And I said, "Here, yeah, that's for you. You can take it." And then it was no problem. But we have friends sending us, someone was thrown out of Trader Joe's. Well, guess what? I went to Trader Joe's earlier that day, in and out. I was waiting. I had to wait in a little line outside. The whole thing. Nobody said boo to me except one woman complained inside to one of the stock guys and said, "Hey, that guy's not wearing a mask." Stock guy comes up to me. He goes, "Hey, sir, you need to have a mask." I go, "I have a medical condition." He goes, "Oh, okay, no problem." And
Dave,
he goes to the lady. He's got a medical condition. And that was the end of it.
Dave, I think you were on
you
were on the boat the other day. Did you see the story where the Starbucks employee got $16,000 in tips for turning away somebody not wearing a mask?
I heard that. Is that true?
Now it's up to 40.
It's 40,000 now?
Yeah, it's 40,000, Jared. No joke.
That's not real.
Hey guys, to clarify though, right? This is just at this point, it's effectively being politicized.
Right.
And dude, Tennessee is nothing can happen where Tennessee isn't blue. Nothing ever in the history of mankind. So like, if Trump came out and was like, "It's really serious that we wear masks," I'd come back out the next day, and that 10% would turn to 70. Like, it's a political thing now. Like, that's why y'all are seeing that. That's my opinion. It's like.
Austin, I just want to say this is the trauma-based mind control is so strong because the people what they keep saying to me when I tell them it's all fake, they go, "It can't be fake. Why would every country in the world be faking these stats?" And then I realize these tests have all these false positives. So that's the problem, Austin, is the engineering's working. These people are scared to death. They think it's real. They think they're going to go outside and get sick and die.
But a lot of them actually think
81,000
that
now.
it's the left's last-ditch effort to get Trump out of office. Like, a lot of diehard Trumpers think that, and so that's why they're woke. They're the definition of diet woke. They haven't looked into the PCR testing, to the asymptomatic cases, to the false positives, to the fact it's just a guess. You can't correlate an actual causality, anything like that. Nothing like that.
Wow.
It's just like, oh, well, they're coming at Trump, so I know it's not real. That's what they think, and so that's why I still stick with my Ostradamus prediction that they end up kind of exposing this, right? They kind of shed some light that these numbers are being inflated and blown out of proportion. It's the crazy leftist Democrats that are doing it. And I don't know. That's just my opinion, but I mean, we'll see.
See, Dave, this is a story here. So there's this girl. She supposedly went to Starbucks and says all she did was post, "Here's the guy from Starbucks that refused to serve me because I'm not wearing a mask. Next time I'll wait for the cops and bring a medical exemption." And he's received $81,000 for turning her away. That's the story that they want people to believe. From this, I'm showing you the GoFundMe.
Yeah. GoFundMe is how they pay.
That's what I'm
prices
saying.
back.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is a story. So now this guy has to come out and pretend like because he turned away somebody at Starbucks. So this is what I'm saying. All these stories are coming out so that the amount of people who refuse to wear masks now, somebody who is on our side who said, "Hey, here's this idiot not serving me because I'm not wearing a mask." If you're the person on the other side, you get money for that. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, here's this guy. He's going to be telling everybody, "Thank you so much for look at." Oh.
Everyone, I just wanted to say thank you for all the love and support that
Right.
everyone is doing. It's an honor to see all this happen.
It's an honor.
So I just want to remind everyone to be kind to one another,
Yeah.
and to love each other, and always remember to wear a mask.
Oh,
He
boy,
combines the
come
mask
on.
with the t-shirts at least.
Oh, boy, it's matching.
There you go.
Oh,
Yeah, so
81,000.
they're just really encouraging. And now there's people that are afraid of being fined in their business. They enforce it because they don't want the $1,000 fine or whatever it is. And then there's other people that enforce it because they believe that they're getting a virus. That they could actually get a virus. I went into I don't know if I told this to anyone yet, but I went into a local sports store trying to support the local guys. And they I was the only one in there besides the 3 employees and the owner, and they were wearing masks. They're like, Dave, you got to wear a mask. And I explained to the 2 guys and why I wasn't wearing one, and they're like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And then the owner comes by, he looks like he's a very healthy 40, and he's 65, and he opens the door. He goes, Dave, you got to have a mask. Do me a favor. I don't want to get sick. I mean, he's petrified, right? And his business is totally dying because there's nobody shopping, and it's just like, and then I wanted to buy this item for cash. They don't take cash because they're afraid of cash now, and this guy loves cash,
I think they all play dress up in the dark and wear masks and crazy little grabbler costumes and do this crazy ritualistic stuff, and they basically impose that onto us, and we are unknowingly part of this giant ritual.
And and he goes, just get it and get out. I go, that's fine. I go, I guess I won't be shopping here anymore. Just what you need. I'm thinking, just what you need. Another person not supporting you. It's just so, but you have to hold your own. You have to do this.
Absolutely.
Anyone.
But we've been trying to tell people we need more people to do it. We need more people to do it. What I'm trying to point out is that number's going the opposite way. That's why they're winning. I mean, less and less people are able to stand up and say, I'm not doing this.
Right. But because they're afraid of these news stories that aren't real. Like I went to Trader Joe's. It wasn't a problem.
Right.
And don't be an ass. Be super nice. Look people in the eyes. Look them in the eyes. That kills them because they're so ashamed of themselves that they short circuit and they'll leave you alone.
I mean, California sucks
shame
now.
Is they're self-projecting it. That's like they're so ashamed to wear the mask, they can't have anybody else not wearing it. They have to shame them too.
Absolutely, that's part of it too. Yeah, they don't want to be the only ones. It's just getting pathetic. I mean, we went out yesterday. Like I said, California is getting so bad now. We can't go grocery shopping anywhere. We tried to go to the flea market yesterday. We have a Saturday flea market here. We looked up like, oh, they're open. Sweet. It's like a quarter to go to this flea market. It's always fun. You go there, they want masks. And I'm just like, forget it. I'm leaving. Not patronizing this place. And I just left. So, I mean, it's what I do. Now, again, could I have just said medical exemption and gone in there and been sure? But at the same time, I'm just like, I don't want to deal. I don't want to give these people my business.
Well, Jaron, I'm with you there, but
I know.
Now every place is doing it. Almost every place.
That's what I'm
saying.
That's what I'm saying.
We have a farmer's market,
no
which I really like. And I had heard so many stories, and I got there, and this was a day where the line was wrapping around the parking lot. I'm like, oh no, just standing in line. That's where you're going to run into that's where you have to have the confidence,
right, to just do it.
I basically drove around the other side where you can kind of just walk in and cut the line like a grabbler, and I kind of sat there for a minute, and I was gonna just leave and not get it, but then I was like, you know what? I'll because I figured with all of the stuff going on in the news that people are gonna give me a hard time, and I just really wasn't up for it. And I said, screw it. I walked in, not a problem. One woman was looking at me, but she was afraid to look at me in the eyes. That's kind of the mask police there. No one said anything. Got my stuff, left, happy as can be.
Well,
no one said anything.
The 2 looks I get when I don't wear my mask is one of fear and one of anger. Those are the only 2 looks I get through the mask. I'm sure it's the same for you.
I don't wear one.
Yeah. They're just afraid.
It's the way it goes. It's like
I get like a look of envy. It's like look at you breathing.
That's why I'm saying the tides have turned, because that was the look originally that I said. When we went to Costco. But you're right, Dave. The problem is that now I'm running out of things to do. I'm running out of places to go. Now it's required everywhere. So, the small businesses are going to suffer even more. The big businesses don't care about my business. They don't need it. They'll do fine. Online stores will make out great. Amazon will do better because I don't want to leave the house now. So, and this is what I'm saying. Their whole agenda is coming to pass quite well. Whether or not, even if I say I'm going to stand up for myself and I'm going to still, go to these businesses or whatever, their agenda is still coming to fruition. It's all coming to plan, and I don't know how to stop it. I don't know what can you do.
Yeah, this checks like almost everything on the list, man. And this is the one way that you could get it all done at once.
Absolutely,
is something this crazy.
Yeah, I mean, how else can you cause something where the rich get richer, the poor get poor? I mean, it's hard to do that, and this is something you just need to tell. And again, it's over the cold. I mean, you can talk to Alex about what Dr. Lorraine had to say about it today. People need to check out that video. She talks all about exactly what's going on with COVID and what it is and how these tests work and the fact that it's going to stay around. because everybody has coronaviruses in them, and so they can at any time say this is coming up again.
And we know this is the largest transfer of wealth, from the middle class to the super elite. And now round two, they're going to do even more.
Yes.
Guys, it's so obvious when they keep the liquor stores open, they keep the abortion clinics open, but they close the church. You can't get COVID at Walmart, but at the abortion clinic, you can't get it either. But if you go to church, you're going to get sick and die. And that's the constant media. They constantly show that, 80 church members get COVID from one Sunday thing. It's constantly negative. It's just so disgusting that these people can't even see that they'll let us go to Walmart. We can all go to Walmart, but you can't go to church. And I'm not some religious guy. I'm just saying, how much clearer can it be that you can go get an abortion, but you can't even worship on Easter Sunday?
Dude, second stimulus check is coming, man. So what they've done to cripple the small businesses is just the beginning. Some of them persevered. Some of them are still surviving, and they're operating at half capacity, or they're getting back to normal. They're trying to get out of that hole they were dug in. Well, when they get hit again,
Have they announced that? Have they really announced that there's going to be another stimulus payment to Americans?
Yeah, well, Trump was asked about it and said, yes, there's going to be another check, and it's going to be quite generous. And he said when, and he said it just would be quick. He didn't know. And they're supposed to reconvene and
communist
pass by the end of July.
Exactly right.
Communist, yeah. Here is the same thing. In Argentina, the government start giving checks. It's not checks we call like social plans, things like that. But the most educated people is saying, no, we don't want that. We want to get to work.
Right.
93 days of quarantine, which with a disease that has the biggest rate in recovery. So we recover the people, 95% of the people that takes the coronavirus get health again without vaccine,
right?
Without medicines, without nothing.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So what's the problem with that? We want to work again. We don't want the help of government. We don't want the food, this type of box with food, or that is a very socialist communism agenda.
That's why it's so set up, is that no matter what outcome comes out of this, people will look and say the government did a great job.
Yeah, but that is the patriotism. The government is a patriot government who help people.
Right.
Giving things,
Right.
Well, this is the only scenario in which you can convince those staunchly opposed to universal basic income or government dependence to accept the money, because they do so out of necessity. It's very well crafted. These people don't have a job. They need money, bro. And then they're like, damn, I have to take the check. And those are the people that would never take the check, that hated it, that knew that it would be the end of the country. It's the only scenario they could check all the boxes.
Yeah.
And people really think there's something killing them.
And you scare the shit out of people, and then they don't want to go back to work. Why would you want to go back to work where you're putting them at risk? I'd much rather stay home and collect my unemployment because the government needs to do what they need to do to keep us safe.
And of course, for example, in Argentina, 80% of our population is poor. Mm-hmm. So the 80% wants the check,
right?
Wants the food. So that kind of people saying, well, the government is a good government because it's giving us what we need.
Well, that's what the people here like. The people here like
it.
They want the free universal basic income. There's a lot of people that want to work. Trust me, there's a huge majority of people that just want to live on Easy Street and do jack squat and just look at porn all day. I mean, that's a fact here in America.
And most of the jobs here are jokes anyway. I mean, they're all not even needed. It's just a big system of fakery basically going around. I mean, look at NASA's entire, we employ 140,000. Yeah, it's 140,000 people spinning their wheels doing basically nothing. It's all fake businesses, fake jobs. And I don't mean fake. They're there. Those people get paid, but nobody's actually doing any needed work. I mean, every job has 10 freaking middlemen that don't need to be there.
This is why we've been so engineered to be so selfish, because if you look at society as a whole, you're like, oh, this isn't going to work. If everyone gets $600 a week, then it's no longer $600 a week. It's not that valuable anymore. If everyone's dependent on the government, then how do we ever stand up and say, well, this is what we want. We need them to survive. People don't think like that. They literally just think, I'm getting $600 a week, and that's how they get us. We don't think of the collective as the best.
Prices are going to go up. The price of everything is going to go up.
But also, for example, here we have the trouble, because if you want to receive the help of the government, you need to be on rule. You need to be, I don't know how to call you in English, but we say that we have black type of work, out of the grid of the government, but that people doesn't receive nothing.
Oh, that's the
because
same
you
thing
are,
here. If you don't pay taxes,
you're not
you
paying
won't.
taxes.
Yeah, if you don't pay
Exactly.
taxes, you won't get. Same thing in the United States.
Black market, yeah, that's another racism right away.
The only
But
way you
the
can
thing
get
is
the
that
payments is if you pay taxes. It's the only way.
exactly, if you are included in the government's rules,
Right.
you receive that type of things.
So
but
true.
85% of the people in Argentina, we are out of the system.
Really, that many?
Yes, man.
Oh, nice.
That many.
Oh.
That many. So what the government start doing is that they open like a website where you can get very easy in 2 clicks into the government list of people without getting a job, but registered yourself. So the guys in one day, they receive 5 million of people get into the system.
Well, what they're doing here is they want to give everybody contact tracing jobs where they can just work from home and just monitor
The same
some
thing
ads.
here.
Yeah. Become part of the and they want those people
don't
when those
really
people
want to
work for
work. I don't think.
Dude, just wait till you get your social
they're
credits. to watch
basically
them.
so they're basically poaching the population. They push the population to a limit with poverty now, and then they're
Yes.
jumping in with benefits that you have to sign
Via
up for their
banks.
databases.
Benefit via banks.
Right.
You need to open, they because we are under an emergency, so very quickly they open a bank account and bankalize. I don't know if that's the correct word, but they make this bankinships type of license to the poor people, and of course that involves another things behind the scenes. It's not just, oh great, I have because if you want to receive the money for the government, nobody's going to take you real actual money to you. No, you need to have an account in the bank,
Right.
so the government send you the money digital into that account. But that is another way to resist people to have, like surveillance onto the people, on that type of thing. And of course, you need to enter into the standards to have, the contact tracing. You need to, all the things, all the list behind that,
Yeah, I actually think it even gets worse than this. I think the next level is they incentivize things such as, we can't have y'all going around like having sex in person, so if you watch porn, we'll pay you. I'm not even joking. Or like, you play video games, just stay at the house, we'll pay you. Like all the, you eat GMOs, since they're the most readily accessible, you're helping humanity, we'll pay you. Everything that's bad for you, they're going to incentivize it, and people are going to get trapped in where now they're not sustainable, and they're just going to do whatever. They're going to give us a guideline, like a list of objectives that are all detrimental to us, and they're going to monetarily incentivize it.
Yeah, and that's all predicted in the 6666 patent, right? And their kind of brainwave cryptocurrency thing that they want to make.
And supposedly Donald Trump stopped that act of the 666.
Yeah, the Senate did, yeah.
It stopped.
Yes.
Supposedly. Okay.
They have 10 more behind it, I'm sure of it.
Yeah, check this out. Yeah, Microsoft wants to mine cryptocurrency using brain waves.
Right.
It's another one that it's kind of similar to that. Oh, wait. What is this? No, this is my biography. Sorry, I put you something else. That was from my website.
That's the thing with Bitcoin, man. Like the whole mining cryptocurrency, that's going to be a thing of the past, man. Like, it's so inefficient, takes tons of electricity, tons of time, blah, blah, blah. That's not actually needed for the technology. That's what they use to make it valuable. That's not even going to be a thing anymore, in my opinion. Like, you can validate a blockchain significantly quicker for basically free. And so the future, they're just going to adopt the blockchain technology and give us their version of it. And,
I still struggling with that. I still struggle with cryptocurrency simply because they can just turn off the internet. And the idea that you would be able to still trade it and that we'd be able to build mesh networks between people, I don't think is as readily or as easy as available as people think. So I don't know.
Well, I think during the fake internet alien invasion, they're going to turn off the internet immediately. They'll say the aliens knocked out our internet, and then we're totally screwed because nobody will be able to get any information.
Or
dude, if the internet goes down, dude, they can't even get grocery stores can't send their orders to food trucks.
No.
Like that's a bad scenario, bro. The internet goes down,
That's
the
the
whole
end.
infrastructure.
Yeah,
relies
that's true.
on it.
That's kind of the end of
Dude,
everything.
Austin, they own Monsanto. They own they can create a famine in 2 seconds if they want. They can just stop selling us their agriculture. Like, dude, they can starve us, and that's really one of their plans is the famine. I mean, I think Dr. Day said that, and she didn't say it today. I've heard her say that in the past. The famine, dude, that's been their long-term, that's their backup plan. They can just freaking starve us, but I think that might be too slow because people will be able to combat it. With,
processed foods
stores.
have done a great deal to mess people up, right?
Well, that's why I think it's so important that people get used to gardening for yourself, or at least get in good with your local. I was happy that we found this farmer's market, and then I found a farmer, and I'm able to go out to his farm and pick stuff out still, because at least if everything went down, I still have that.
Right.
So
you should definitely at least stockpile seeds.
Yeah, everybody needs to be ready for that, because I'm not saying that could never happen. It would be very easy for them to do, and especially we can't look at things now and say, oh, they would never do that. Look what they've done in the past 3 months.
And I'm not a stockpile expert, but everybody needs to have a 10-pound bag of rice. I mean, that at least you can live off that for a while. It'll never go bad, and that's so cheap. Everybody should have one of there somewhere in their house, just in case, God knows what happens.
Yeah.
I don't think they get rid of the internet. Like they need that to set up the new world order. They want an artificial, virtual reality.
I'm not saying get rid of the internet forever, but what if they shut it down for 3 months? Think of everything.
Or a week.
Right.
I know. I feel you.
5 minutes. People complain when their Verizon doesn't go out, and they talk about it on Daily Mail. If they cut our internet out for 72 hours, people would be shooting each other in the street.
But the problem is that I believe we don't have escape. Because otherwise the money that you use, it's also managed by the same system.
Right.
So it's going to be something that you cannot avoid, enter into digital currency. So trying to make the best business as you can,
right? Because
it's something that you cannot avoid. At least
it's coming.
With cryptocurrency right now in our time, you can still make some extra percentage. With the regular money, you can do nothing.
Right.
At least you have enough to buy land or buy, you are a really business guy like David. But if not, it's just you have money in your bank account, you give to the bank to give more loans, and things like that. You do nothing. You do nothing. You just
Very well said.
have paper.
I agree with
I
that.
couldn't agree more with you. That's I don't agree with the digitalization of money. Doesn't mean that it's going to stop because Austin and Tennessee doesn't agree with it.
Right.
So if you can at least inform yourself and take advantage of the transference that's happening right
Well,
around
you
there.
can, exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's not other scenario,
Yeah, exactly.
But
I'm
also don't put all your
exercising 'cause
eggs in
I'm
one
going to be a
basket.
future prostitute because there's no way I'm going to be able to make money in the future. So I'm going to have to sell myself.
Nice.
Whoa. You heard it here first.
Special treat in Argentina for that kind of job. So if you want to come, man, I can be your manager.
Does that help your social credit score? I'm not really
I can
sure.
give you food at home.
Oh yeah, dude. Obviously, being a hooker is going to shoot your social
Yeah,
credit
that
score
has
up.
to a little bit. You get a few social credits. I'm sure we're going to be able to trade our social credits like tokens. So yeah, I'm sure all the ladies of the night will have tons, and the men of the night. Let's not forget about their transgender agenda. They need male prostitutes too in the future for sure.
Slut
Dude,
lives
you change
matter.
your gender, you get a bonus.
Oh God.
Unlimited social credits for any sexual orientation changes.
If you identify
See, you know
as a
what's sick? We're
spaceship,
joking about that, but there would be people that would cut off their penis to have unlimited social credits. I guarantee you, there'd be a line out the door at the
Yeah.
penis removal center.
no,
Sadly,
for sure.
you're right. Very sadly, you're right.
Oh my goodness.
All right, let's.
In fact,
sorry.
it's real fast. If you take that idea, there's really nothing they could say that people wouldn't do, right? When it comes to money, people will do anything. The Bible's right about that. The love of money is root of all evil.
I have to remember these people believe that they can transfer your consciousness into binary code and put it in a spaceship and send it out in the galaxy, right? And that your consciousness would be there.
Yeah, but they don't believe in spirit, soul, nothing. But they believe in consciousness, like something tangible, something
They
that you
believe
can
in
transfer.
spirits
Made out of
His name's
code.
Lucifer.
Yeah, well.
Sad clown world, and unfortunately, we got to live in it. All right, guys, let's shut her down. Like I said, thank you for joining us for a Globebusterish show. We'll just go around real quick, let everybody say their goodbyes. Rodrigo, anything coming up? Anything you need to tell everybody listening?
Just working and some things coming up for sure. Don't know exactly what. To finish a publication today, I'm gonna be up for my supporters and coming up with the website. So working on that, and yeah, just lots of work. And thank you so much for having me again. Great panel, great show. It's about 12:30 here in the night, so I'm getting close to slow down and out. So yeah. Nothing too special. Well, it's like a publication on chess and music, the connections between. It has a lot to do with some of the things that are said here about. I think David was talking about resonance and people connecting because of their sort of vibration patterns, and that transferred to how people learn music and learn chess, and the connections between that. Some historical connections. Always interested in kind of things about children prodigies that have come up in music and chess as well, and there's even people who have combined it. So yeah, it's just something interesting.
Thanks for joining us. People want to support you, patreon.com/anthropology. How about Austin? What do you got coming up? Anything exciting?
Well, I'm gonna do a few Ostradamus streams this week, and then I think they're trying to already like coax me back into debating again.
Back again.
You
can't stay away.
Who is it this time?
I don't even remember, dude. I don't know the dude. But
not the tune guy, right? Not that guy.
No, some other clown. I don't know.
It's all right. Somebody's got to do it. Why not you?
Someone's got to do it.
Yeah, why not you, Austin? You just get the mic wings. But yeah, maybe I'll keep everyone updated on my channel and on my social media if I decide to do it. But that's about it.
Okay, sounds good. And that's patreon.com/witsitgetsit if you want to support us. And remember, support these guys. Support me if you can. Support Dave by buying the app. It just helps so much and allows us to keep doing this. Things are getting tight in the YouTube world. This video won't be up long. That's why we're talking about darkmatter.radio. Just like Owen Benjamin has unauthorized.tv, you got to support these people that are doing these kind of side projects because it's what's going to be needed. We need to get off YouTube. We know that. There's too much censorship here. So it really, if you want this kind of material, support it now or else it will go away. Speaking of that, let's talk to Alex. Alex, what do you got coming up? What can people expect to see on your channel? And again, congratulations on your first Dark Matter show. I thought it was good. I think you're going to be a star one day.
Oh man, coming from you and not Steven Spielberg, that's good. So you're not going to molest me, so that's good, Jaron. I'm happy it's coming from you. The Dark Matter Digital Network, guys, it's going to be good because then we can talk about stuff that's getting censored, and that's what we want to talk about. So that's why that network can be a very good outlet for us. And obviously, we got to use every other platform, but that's why, at least with my show, is I'm going to talk about some messed up things that are definitely going to get censored by YouTube. So that's why I'm so excited. And then, it's a place for truth, so that's good. You need to watch the Dr. Day interview. But the thing I want to plug the most is go follow my Conspiracy Castle Instagram. I'm posting memes every day. I'm waking people up with these memes. And if you're trying to show your friends truth, memes are a good way to do it in just a quick, easy way. So follow Conspiracy Castle, just like it sounds, so how it's spelled on Instagram. And I'm spitting truth there every day, and I'll have a show next Sunday at the same time before Globebusters. It's awesome. I can't tell you, Jaron, how thankful I am to have met you and all the help you've given me. It's unbelievable. The support in the Flat Earth community and everybody else that I've received is unbelievable.
Sweet. David, talk to people.
Yeah, so Rose and I are working on a couple more what we call flat smackings. The one with her cousin Mike was fun, and I've got some, I've been using my green screen. I now realized I could put video behind me, so when I'm talking about stuff, I can bring up some cool things in the background that I think are really going to help. So looking forward to the next one of those, and yeah, I'm doing this full time now, guys. So If you have the app, best way to support me is to gift the app to someone else. That way, you're not just supporting me; you're making Flat Earth friends and family. So, gift them the app, and that's it. So, and then anyone that's listening that knows of a radio show or has, if you have an audience and you think Flat Earth is stupid, most of it, I would say 99% of the people here do not, maybe even more. Have me on. I'm available to do interviews and have the discussion. If you got the "I gotcha" Flat Earth is impossible question, I want to hear it. I want to do it live on your show, and you could reach out to me at info@theflatearthpodcast.com. info@theflatearthpodcast.com.
Sweet.
That's it.
And Iru, mi amigo.
Yeah. Well, thank you everyone for support me. I was talking about with Joe Mama, and that guy is awesome with me, and I know with the rest of the community. And down here, well, I'm reopened for the third time my English channel. In fact, while I was in the show, I uploaded a video from 9/11 occultist meanings and some rituals that predictive programming, if you want to see it in that way. So I invited everyone to check it out. It's called NPT for All. That is very hard to create new names for the channel, but this time I go very straightforward, just like the same thing in Spanish but in English. So I restart uploading and trying to reach the 1,000 subscriber to make live shows and be again in the English community, not just in the Spanish community. So I'm gonna be uploading this week a few things that I already have in my Spanish channel, which is in English, but here directly. So again, I invited everyone to support me in my YouTube channel, and also if you can support me via Patreon, I really appreciate it. And the rest, as always, trying to make and bring new information to the community.
Iru, now that you have the MPT for All for English, I can unsubscribe to the other one, hoping that it would be in English every time, and I'm disappointed every single time.
Yes, as always, man.
I have subscribed.
Yes.
The Spanish continues the same, right? Nur para todos still there.
Nur
right?
para todos. Yes, we reached the 83,000 subscriber. I don't know why, but maybe YouTube help us to to spread the word. So
Different algorithms in
yes.
Argentina. Mm-hmm.
Yes, but not in Argentina. I believe this could be just a simple coincidence, but ODD TV, the 4th of April, he uploaded a video that reached right now 1.5 million views. And the same day, I uploaded a video which reached again the same number, 1 million but 400 views. And from that particular time, my YouTube channel grows 40K in only 1 month. And I have friends with channels with only 8,000 subscribers that right now have 200,000 subscribers. So something happened in the back end of YouTube that start rising up subscriber in some YouTube channel. Of course, the views is not related with the number of subscribers, because I have like I said before 83,000 subscribers, but my videos has 20,000, 30,000 views, but I don't know what happened behind the algorithm. In fact, I'm still getting off quite a few videos, deleted directly. So something is changing,
So weird,
and maybe it's so weird. Yeah, maybe those change benefit one channel, another not. I don't know, but who knows.
So
what is
it's
behind.
still getting videos deleted, but then some videos the channel subscribers are coming. Right? There are algorithms all over the place. Something is happening. Yeah.
My subscriber count's been frozen forever, and it just started going up. I'm about 350 people short of 50,000. but it's been frozen in the low 40s for a while.
Me too. That the same thing happened with me. I was frozen in 33,000, 33, 32. Yeah, 33, 35,000 subscribers, which is a lot because it's my it's my second channel. But right now, in 2 months, I grow, more than half that I had before. It's crazy.
Jaron, how long have you been stuck at 150?
For a year.
Yeah.
But you know what?
That's
I'm not doing myself a lot of credit. Like I said, in order to keep my channel from getting shut down and stuff, I don't put any tags. I don't put the title. It never includes anything. I'm very careful about making sure they don't really see what I'm doing. So that hurts you, right? If I don't put tags and I'm not being found in search, so people basically have to know what they're looking for. But I am going to change the way I do everything. And so that's, kind of getting to me. And just so people know, Dark Matter Radio, whether that's going to be it, whether it's going to be something different, just support these things because, as you know, Globebusterish has a strike. Globebusters 2 has a strike, so it's going to be a while till we can go back on those channels. So, yeah, will we end up on Dark Matter? Well, what you can know for sure is that we'll be on D-Live when we come back, when Globebusters comes back. If you're looking for something, we might be here at my channel. I might be taking a little bit more away from my channel as far as like Thursdays. I don't think I'll be doing I am doing the Thursday show on the 9th with Amanda Vollmer at 2 p.m. So I do have that coming up. But will we keep doing the Friday Lounge? I'm not 100% sure that's going to continue. We'll have to kind of see. Just kind of keep your eyes open. I might be taking some time away to work with Dark Matter. I don't know. It's kind of up in the air right now. I'm trying to get it to a place where we don't have to count on YouTube. I want to have a place where we can keep the shows up. I don't want things getting deleted. A lot of other people, Jeff Berwick does it on his website where every video that he does stays on his website. I want to kind of do the same thing. So whether that's going to be at my website or Dark Matter, it's going to take me a couple weeks to figure out which one works better for me. So just keep your eyes open and help support as much as you can. If you can join Patreon, that's great for me. Send a tip to Venmo at jeranism or Cash App at jeranism. That helps a lot. By the way, I want to point out, because I really appreciate everybody on my D-Live. They've become a great group of people. And one of them there is Little Dancing Bear. Her name is Grace. I told her to start a T-shirt shop because she sent me some of her little drawings, which I think are awesome. So, Ebru, what do you think of this shirt? It is let's see if it'll come up here, the Jesuit shirt.
Oh wow! I want my percentage. I want my percentage.
No percentages for you. This is awesome. So I'm gonna put this. It is
sweet. Nice. Really nice. Bullshit.
This is my favorite shirt. Tons of different colors and sizes. So this is.
Is that Iru?
No, it's a Jesuit.
No, man, no. I just a Freemasonry. I say 33. I am not upgrade to Jesuit order yet.
Tomato.
So let me drop this link in. Oops. Oh shit! I didn't show everybody. Sorry, people. I got to show it now. Nobody saw that. Man, I'm getting used to. I don't do that anymore, but I just did it. Let me show it again because nobody saw me at home, and then I'll show one Dave will love too. So. Here's the Jesuit shirt, everyone, and then I'll drop this link in all the chats. This is Grace. Grace is only 17 years old, and she is designing T-shirts, and now she's got her own store on Teespring, which I think is awesome. She sent me a bunch of these designs. I'm like, man, I would buy those shirts, so I got to pick out which one of these I'm going to wear and promote. How about this one? I'm
going to buy one right now.
How about this? Another blustery day on the moon. I love it. It's great.
That's awesome.
This is awesome. Yeah, she's great. How about this one, Dave? This is the one Dave will like. Dave's going to buy one of these shirts. How about this one, Dave?
Oh.
This is good
I need
stuff.
that.
You need this shirt. So good. So help support Grace. Let's see what other one we got here. Oh, what's this one? Lunar Lander. Great. Just got some. What does her little thing say? Ah, yes, the wonderful machine that brought man to the moon, made with incredible care and excellent durability to withstand the vacuum of space. This tinfoil box marked the beginning of space explorations to come. Great information. Great stuff here. What's this one? Up, up, and not away. I like it. A little astronaut on there. Great. And hopefully she keeps going. buildings are doing some more. Let's see this one. Up, it's a 5G tower and a person getting fried to Skeletor. I like it. So she's doing good, and she's got some more designs coming. This one's the United States Space Horse. This is great with the helmet on. This is good. This is good.
I want that one.
There's gonna be a time when we're gonna receive strikes for using cloth, maybe.
Yeah, you can't do Space Horse.
So yeah.
I like these. This is great. Don't give up on this, Grace. I'm sure you're gonna get some sales after this show, hopefully. So far, though, my favorite is the Jesuit shirt.
Come on, everybody buy a T-shirt. Does everybody?
Yeah.
Buy a T-shirt.
Flat Earth T-shirts you can wear in public. So Grace, awesome, and I will drop this link in all the. It is teespring.com/stores/FE Designer 7. I don't know why you got the number 7. Does that mean there's that many other FE designers? I don't know. Maybe her favorite number is 7. Who knows?
Those shirts are more likely to start a conversation than one that says the Earth is flat.
I agree, because this one just calls.
People will see
something.
that and they're like, "What is that?" And you're like, "Well, did you ever, boom, there's your conversation right there."
Yeah, true that.
Yeah, I like
the
it.
person has to figure out what's going on in this T-shirt, and they're friendly to children can wear them.
So awesome. Little Dancing Bear is super excited in the chat. Let me drop this off for people. I'm sure somebody already did. She's very excited. Yay, yay, yay. Very excited. Good. Yeah, everybody get one. Let me drop it in this chat. Iru, I see you dropping your links in my chat again.
Yes, man.
Okay.
No, it's not your
Alright.
channel. It's Globebusterish channel.
No, this is my channel today. It's a Globebuster-ish show, though. No, I'm just kidding.
We live under democracy. Come on.
Come on, slow down, chat. All right, there we go. There's the link. There's the link. I'll drop it again. Who else has Flat Earth shirts? Dave has some shirts. You can go to the app, and then you go to settings, and then in the settings it says FE Store. And Dave's got some nice sweatshirts and hoodies.
T-shirts, sweatshirts, COVID, Flat Earth, all sorts of stuff.
I have to say this because we're talking about T-shirts. I said this, I think, one of the first lounges. One of the reasons my girlfriend and I broke up is because she knew I was a flat earther, and she got me a Flat Earth T-shirt. And she'd always be like, "Put on your T-shirt, put on your T-shirt," always mocking me. And that was the one I was like, "Bitch, you don't even know what you're on. Shut up." So it's funny how these are
like a great
conversation
relationship.
starter. Into relationship.
Very healthy.
And that relationship ended? I'm shocked.
Yeah. What a shock.
I can't imagine. A lot of people saying they're going to buy a shirt from you, Grace. So keep going. I like your designs. They're very simple. Nicholas Brown says the ishiest show ever. Yes, it's very ishy. I'll drop it one more time. There you go. So Grace, keep doing that. And to other people, this is the kind of thing we're talking about. Let's grow as a community. If there's something you're good at, making posters, something, let me know. Get in D-Live. Chat with me. Tell me what you do. I'll promote it. That's what we like to do. Dave's got this idea where eventually we're like a secret society. Dave, talk about it.
I forget.
It's so secret that we can talk about it.
Yeah,
Is it Bob's church?
No, like we need to have like some sort of way to signal. Like you could be living next door to another flat earther and not know it because both of you are afraid to let your neighbors know you're a flat earther. Me, everyone knows I'm a flat earther, so it doesn't matter. And so there's times where I'm walking down the street and people will see me. It's been happening more and more. People are like, "Hey," it happened at the Apple store. I told the story. And it happened walking just in the street one day. A guy became a good friend, So we have to have some sort of.
I had this midwife turn to me and say, "Well, in the belly there's no gravity, right?" And winked.
So let me ask you a question.
Nice.
If you're interviewing midwives, and let's say there's 3 different groups of midwives, and you got to figure out which one to hire, and one of them lets you know that they're a flat earther, which one are you hiring?
Right.
Hey, Dave, a guy wrote a book how to do this. His name's Albert Pike. The book's called Morals and Dogma. He can explain to you how to do it really easily.
We need to convert that to something friendly.
But Dave's right. I mean, we interviewed midwives, and it was the ones that we said, "Well, what is your feeling on vaccines?" And they're like, "Oh, we think that vaccines are totally a parent's choice. If they don't want any, we don't think they should have any. If they want 100, then we think that's fine. They can have 100. It's a parent's choice. It's like, all right, we'll go with that one. That's great. That's what we want. We want the midwife that tells us that's what they want.
It's shifting more and more. You know, there's people like, who would I hire? I would hire someone that didn't go to college, that has some life experience and is awake to the world. You know, that I'd hire that over a Harvard graduate. So,
yeah,
you have it.
And it's a secret society for now, but soon it's just going to be open society.
No, like George Soros.
No, not that.
Okay. No, okay. I start getting worried,
not
man.
like that. All right. Anybody else anything left to say before we head out? Almost 4 hours today. Good show. Crazy.
Yeah,
show.
you start saying that only 1 hour and a half, 2 hours at least, because I only have 8 tabs for sharing information.
You didn't even get to share your screen for longer than 15 minutes today.
No, because you don't allow me, man.
Weak sauce.
Let's discuss this offline, okay?
All right, let's do it. All right, guys, it's been fun. Dave, thanks for joining us. Alex, obviously, thank you so much. Rodrigo, as always. Iru and and Austin. You guys have been awesome. All right, it's been fun, guys. We'll see you soon. What's coming up next? Dave and I tomorrow with The Plain Truth, right, Dave?
That's right. Jamie from A Plain Truth joining us, and who knows what we'll be talking about, because he's got a lot to say.
And will I be co-hosting Midnight in the Desert on Monday from 9 to midnight? Who knows? Keep your ears peeled. You never know what might happen. All right, guys, we'll talk to you soon. This has been Jeranism. I remind you to do your own research, because when you do, you never again believe what you've been taught. Till tomorrow night. Peace.
Peace.
Pizza.